Hi everyone. Thank you for the raids that happened at the same time, so they overlapped. That was very funny. Hi Lily. Hi Usabi. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good stream. Hi Kai. Hope everyone's having a good, nice Yu-Gi-Oh! Tuesday. That's right, folks. Yu-Gi-Oh! Tuesday. We're going to watch some Yu-Gi-Oh! And then we're going to watch some YouTube featuring Yu-Gi-Oh! I've got 2 YouTube videos lined up. We've got 4 episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! Lined up. Yu-Gi-Oh! Yugs Day. I don't know. It's a normal Tuesday for me. Well, almost normal, because in two days, it's my birthday. Zat.exe, thank you for the follow. On Thursday, it's my birthday. Isn't that fucked up? Isn't that fucked up? And Tuesday is my birthday? What the fuck? Huh? And for my birthday, I'm going to have Golden Nova, Lily, who just raided, and Oracle coming over to play a very special format I've been developing for a long time. I've been teasing it for a while too. We're going to play some fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! Hi, Lily. It's a special format I've been working on. I'm excited about it. But before we do that, we got to get through Yu-Gi-Oh! Tuesday. You're out of ad. Yay! You're out of ad. You're not so bad. Da, 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 da. All right. Let's watch some Yu-Gi-Oh! Some Use Day. Yeah. Let's watch some Yu-Gi-Oh! Why don't we watch some Yu-Gi-Oh? What if we watch Yu-Gi-Oh? Hi, Ali. All right. Let's watch. Eventually. Come on. Come on. Let's go. You can do it. Come on. Come on. Come on. You can do it. All right. Next episode that I've heard would be, I don't know. The existence of the defense position in these Duelist Kingdom ones really creates some anticlimactic. Third episode, which means we should have taken an ad break. We're going to take an ad break real quick, and we'll be right back with this exciting episode. See you in a sec.
Night of the Lepus. Rated PG.
Now a special bulletin direct from American International. Is it too late? Is our planet doomed? Life as we know it at an end? Right now, Godzilla is laying waste to New York, Rodan is attacking Moscow, Manda is smashing London, and Peking trembles under the wrath of Mothra. Our battle cry must be, destroy all monsters. In color from American International, this picture is rated G. Destroy all monsters. 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 Monsters.
We're back. We're back. Back we are. All right. Let's watch Kaiba. Every time, dog. I stopped going to my locals, not because of this, but because of things like this. One time I went to my locals and I played against this guy who was on Adagnister. And this was a few years ago. So the strat at that point for Adagnister, this was before the new support for it, the strat at this time for Adagnister was to play Mystic Mine until you drew combo and then combo off and do a fucking OTK. And I hate shit like this, and my locals is full of people who run floodgates. So I always bring Harpy's Feather Duster in my deck at this point. I'm always running Harpy's Feather Duster, but you have to draw into it, right? So I'm waiting to draw into it. And the guy has the fucking gall to look at me and go, do you have an out to this, or are we just wasting time? You're the one who's running Mystic Mine! You don't get to complain! Fuck you! Thank you for the follow, Matt 2016. I'm just like, you're the one that's stalling. You could end this at any time. Why are you complaining to me about not surrendering because I have it out in my deck? Ah! You took a shortcut and gained nothing. You experienced a hollow victory. Nothing was risked and nothing was gained. It's sad you don't know the difference. Wait a minute. In the dub, don't they make it where she forgot what that card does? Dude, do they make her a worse duelist if she actually believes this anymore because of the interaction she's had with them? But she's like creating a Socratic dialogue to help Yugi process his trauma, which that's fucked up. All right, we're going to take a quick little break yet again, and we're going to be right back with some YouTube. We're going to be watching a Team Sam video. Brace your eardrums. Be right back. All right. We are back, folks. We are fucking back, folks. It was an 8-bit Master Duel theme. If I remember correctly, it was made for an April Fool's event that Master Duel did. But yeah, they actually made an 8-bit Master Duel theme, which is pretty cool. All right, we're going to do some YouTube stuff. As usual, I want to remind you to subscribe to Batchu's Library, the Clips channel. I don't know. I'm doing it out of habit at this point. I feel like most of the people who watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Tuesday have already subscribed to it. But, c'est la vie. So we're going to watch this Sam video. Why Yu-Gi-Oh! Never had Pokemon's longevity. Now, I want you in the chat to just think of the most obvious answer to this you can think of. Can you think of an extremely obvious answer to this question? Perhaps. Can you think of anything that would answer this question that is absolutely 100% completely obvious? No one could beat Farfa in hyperbole content. I don't know if this. Is this one better or worse than the average Farfa video essay, quote unquote? I don't know. I don't have a plushie of Blue Eyes White Dragon. Bing, 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 bing. Official Blue Eyes White Dragon plushies only came into existence in the last couple of years. Official Karibo plushies only came into existence in the last couple of years. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a card game that has like an anime that used to have an anime attached to it, I guess is more accurate. It used to be a media empire that had like the cards and the toys and everything. And then it stopped having them because they stopped producing them I think part of it is that the American side of Yu-Gi-Oh, the American team, particularly on the animation side for kids and all that, had no faith in any Yu-Gi-Oh beyond DM. Like they just don't. I've been doing some research for a video, and it is crazy how towards the end of the GX era, they were still using DM characters to advertise like events and product and shit. It's like it's the American team just had no fucking confidence in GX, 5Ds, or anything beyond that. And so they never made like all the fucking toy deals that they made for the original Yu-Gi-Oh! And so then they just stopped making any Yu-Gi-Oh! Product that wasn't cards. And the only reason they were still making cards is because that was Konami that was making them and not 4Kids. Like, not 4Kids making these deals. Like, I don't know, dude. I think it's pretty obvious. But let's hear what Sam has to say.
A user on X, Dahlia, posted a question that broke the internet. So why did Yu-Gi-Oh! Not have the same longevity that Pokemon did?
Also love that the framing device is just Twitter. It's just Twitter.
1.9 million views, 937 replies. People losing their minds in the comments. Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans offended, Pokemon fans smug. People who haven't touched a card since 2004 suddenly all have an opinion. And honestly, it's one of the most interesting questions.
It is not. It is not interesting. It is not interesting.
Anyone's asked pop culture in a very long time. Dahlia
One of the most interesting questions in all of pop culture.
I had to even clarify in a follow-up. I know Yu-Gi-Oh! Still exists because I play it. I'm saying it dipped in popularity while Pokemon didn't. And that's exactly it. This isn't about whether Yu-Gi-Oh is dead. It's about why one franchise became the single greatest media empire in human history, worth over 150 billion.
Like, it's just so easy to answer this question, right? It is because it's the same reason that, okay, I don't know if you've seen the Dan Olsen Mr. Beast video. You should if you haven't already. If you haven't already, you should absolutely watch the Mr. Beast video that Dan Olsen made. But in it, Mr. Beast wants to be like one of the biggest companies on the planet. He wants to be a $100 billion company. Like, you know, Pokemon is not actually that far over a $100 billion company. It's $150 billion, right? A $1 billion company is insane amounts of wealth. Warner Brothers Discovery was almost sold for $80 billion, right? Warner Brothers Discovery is not a $100 billion company. To be a $100 billion company, as Dan Olsen points out, you have to be everything. You have to be everything. You can't just be Mr. Beast chocolate bars, Mr. Beast, Beast Games, Mr. Beast Labs. You can't just be all those. You have to be everything. And that's what Pokemon has done. Pokemon is everything. It is everything. It has its own stores. It has its own online store. It has its own, like, theme park. It has everything. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Has cards. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has cards. Cards. Cards aren't everything. I don't know if I need to explain this any further than I already have. Cards aren't everything.
And the other one, despite being so beloved, just as iconic, just as culturally significant, didn't. Before we get into the why, I need to make something very clear. Because the internet loves to rewrite history. Both of these franchises were absolutely enormous. In the late 90s and in the...
By the way, I hate this style of... I hate this style of video essay where it's just like so overly edited.
early 2000s, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, the two biggest things in every elementary school, middle school, and Saturday morning television block on the planet. Pokemon...
Like, it just reeks of insecurity of letting your work speak for itself.
Launched in Japan in February 1996 as a Game Boy game. The anime followed in 1997. The cards arrived in the US in the late 1998 to the early 1999s. By the time it reached Western shores, it was already synchronized as a cultural invasion. Games, anime, cards, McDonald's...
I don't like this. Sorry, I'm being like an asshole here. I hate this. Just let the black bars be. Just let there be black bars. Things that are in 4:3 aspect ratio, just let them be. Just let them be. You don't have to fill the whole screen. I only ever do this kind of effect for the like fucking YouTube shorts to fill up the like top and bottom, because otherwise it looks extremely weird. But when it comes to this, just the people are used to the black bars. Just let them be. It's fine.
Games, anime, cards, McDonald's toys, movies, all at once, all pointing at each other. Pokemon was huge. Yu-Gi-Oh! Debuted as a manga in Weekly Shonen Jump.
Debuted? Sorry, that's really mean. I shouldn't do that.
Created by Kazuki Takahashi. The anime we all knew hit Japan in 1998 to 2000 and reached the US shortly right after. The trading card game arrived stateside in 2002 with Legends of the Blue Eyes White Dragon. 4 years after Pokemon cards. As recently as 2021, Yu-Gi-Oh! Had actually outsold Pokemon in total cards. 35 billion.
That's actually a pretty interesting number.
Billion.
That's actually pretty interesting.
For one brief moment, the king of games was literally winning, but then the Pokemon...
But that's because the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game's actually fun to play, and then Pokemon is...
card
I'm
collecting
kidding.
boom.
I'm kidding.
In just the following year alone, in 2022, Pokemon sold 9.1 billion cards. By 2023, they'd sold over 52 billion cards total worldwide. Yu-Gi-Oh's lead lasted about 2 years, and then Pokemon just ran away with it permanently. So no, Yu-Gi-Oh was not a flop. It was not a knockoff. It was a genuine phenomenon that millions of people loved. The question is why Pokemon kept winning while Yu-Gi-Oh plateaued. And the answer is layered. For the people in Dahlia's replies,
So what we're going to do, the answer is layered. So what we're going to do is we're going to read a bunch of Twitter comments.
he cracked a lot of it open for us. So let's use them as our roadmap. One of the top replies.
Oh, you know, I didn't think of, I couldn't figure out what a roadmap was until we showed this image of a word that's roadmap, but it's got hieroglyphs on it. Oh, now I get it. Now I get it. It's a roadmap.
In this thread came from someone named CLP. They got rid of Yugi. Pokemon stuck with Ash for 26 years. Grown men will still watch Yugi and Kaiba run the fade till this day on some Goku and Vegeta and he's right. This is maybe...
Is he? Do you have any evidence of this?
the single biggest structural mistake Yu-Gi-Oh!
Again, I think this is less because audiences don't like stuff past Yu-Gi-Oh! Or like past Duel Monsters. I think this is because of Konami of America. Because it seems like the other characters are plenty popular in Japan. Yugioh got a whole set dedicated to him, right? Why the fuck did Yugioh get a whole set dedicated to him if nobody gives a shit about Arc V? Why the fuck did what the fuck is the shark? What's his Baryon form called? The Baryon shark guy? If he like, why did Duelist of the Deep be an entire shit set dedicated to Nash? Thank you. Why was Duelist of the Deep an entire set dedicated to Nash and also a little bit of fucking Mako Tsunami? If not for the fact that people like things in Japan be outside of the Duel Monsters stuff. Right? And I think this is like purely a outside of Japan issue. They took Nash off of Duels of the Deep to make him Mako in America. I think it is purely a decision from Konami of America and 4Kids and whoever else has handled the Yu-Gi-Oh! IP in America. Because remember, there's like 3 different sections of Yu-Gi-Oh! IP you have to take. This is another reason why Yu-Gi-Oh! Hasn't taken off the same way Pokemon does. Everything that Pokemon does is run by Pokemon Company. It used to be they had Wizards of the Coast involved with the Pokemon card game, and that was a disaster. So they took control of everything themselves. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is controlled by like 5 different companies. Not even in America, in Japan as well. In Japan, it's controlled by Kazuki Takahashi's estate, NAS, Shueisha, and Konami. Like, there's so many different companies all have a say in what happens in Yu-Gi-Oh! And they aren't able to have a concrete, solidified vision. Studio Dice as well, yeah. For what I think Studio Dice isn't Studio Dice what is like the company that is Kazuki Takahashi's estate is run as. I think I could be wrong on that. But yeah, there's so many different fingers on the fucking pie, in the fucking pie that you can't have a solidified pie crust. Whereas Pokemon has a perfect pie crust because it's all centralized. They're able to perfectly control the brand as they want to have it. And then, with Konami, you also have to then go outside of, Konami Japan. And then you have fucking, Konami of America and Konami Japan, aren't exactly eye to eye with each other either. So you have like another finger on the fucking pie. You used to have Upper Deck and 4Kids as well, also putting their fingers on the fucking pie. Everyone has a different idea of what Yu-Gi-Oh! Is. And like with 4Kids, the idea was the only thing that matters in America is Yugi and Kaiba. And so then 4Kids tells you the only thing that matters is Yugi and Kaiba. They tell you that for fucking decades. And then Konami America tells you the only thing that matters is Yugi and Kaiba. They've continued that ever since. Because of that, all of us Americans and people, probably I think Europeans as well, people outside of Japan, basically, people outside of the OCG region, all think, well, the only thing that matters is Yugi and Kaiba, because that's what we've been told this entire time, is that the only thing that matters is Yugi and Kaiba. And so it's become true. But that doesn't mean that it would have always been that way if 4Kids had actually gone all in on GX instead of making it some stupid fucking joke while just hammering in the only thing that matters is Yugi and Kaiba. So I don't agree. I don't agree with this. I think it could have been different. But if you're just going on vibes, that's all you're going to get from it, is that, well, the only thing that matters is Yugi and Kaiba because that's the vibe that I have. If you have to actually look at evidence to make video essays.
Has made one that played out slowly over the years, and by the time anybody has noticed, the damage was already done. After the original series ended, Yu-Gi-Oh moved on. GX, new protagonist.
Also,
IDs,
yeah, God forbid
new
stories
protagonist.
end.
On motorcycles. You say Jack Atlas Pro card games on motorcycle? That was pretty cool. But personally, for me, Zexal, Arc V, Vrains, now Goal Rush? What is that? Each new
Like what do I say, man? Like, what do I say about that?
show brought a completely new cast, a new setting, a new art style, and with each reset, a portion of the original audience didn't follow, like myself.
Love Zexal renewed my interest in the game. I mean, like, that's the thing, is that that's what they were supposed to do, is that they were supposed to create a new, like, generation of duelists that have a new thing that they like, right?
Meanwhile, Ash Ketchum was catching Pokemon since 1997 all the way till 2023.
But were you watching it? But were you fucking watching it? Ash Ketchum has been on TV, you know, it was on TV from fucking 1996 to 2023. But were you fucking watching it? I wasn't. I stopped watching in Pokemon Emerald. You can't explode people's heads on stream. Watch me! Watch me! Like, the thing that people don't understand about Pokemon is that Pokemon was also doing the same thing. They just didn't get rid of Ash. That's the only thing they kept, was Ash and Pikachu. Ash is, like, everything else changes, including the characterization of Ash and Pikachu. Every new generation, Ash has, like, a different vibe going on. Different fucking animation styles happen. There's so many different things, that different side characters, right? It's... Gary Oak doesn't show up after fucking season 1, right? I don't... like, he shows up occasionally... But, like, if you want to extend this argument, it would be like Yugi shows up forever, but not Kaiba. Kaiba never shows up again. He's in the Johto conference. Like, that's great. He shows up again as, like, a Pokemon professor in Diamond and Pearl, I think. But in Diamond and Pearl, Ash has an entirely different fucking rival. He's got Paul. Anyone remember Paul? Does anyone remember fucking Paul? What about Tobias? Do you remember Tobias? You either remember Paul and hate his fucking ass because he was really a really interesting new character to the show, or you don't remember him at all because you weren't watching anymore. You're just saying names. That's my point. That's my point. And, like, Also, if Yu-Gi-Oh had continued past the point that Kazuki Takahashi, like if Duel Monsters had continued past the point that Kazuki Takahashi was writing it, every arc from then on would have been Waking the Dragons, and it would have been miserable. Tobias was the one with Dark. I think that was his name, right? Tobias was the Darkrai guy. This guy has almost 1 million subscribers. That's true. He does.
6 years. The same kid. Ash Ketchum. The same.
But is he the same kid? Is he actually the same character? He's named the same character. He's named after the same character. He has the same look. But is he the same character? Because he kind of goes through a lot of differences, a lot of changes over time. Ash in the Alola arc is very different from Ash in the Kanto arc. Right? Remember the Ash in Gen 5 Season 1 Pikachu listens to a newly caught Snivy? Alola is like an entirely different anime. Exactly, yeah. And then the Galar region is also very different. He is to the extent that it matters to the average viewer. That's probably fair, honestly. But like, I think he's also new enough to entice a newcomer to the show as well. Also, can I say I love this? You can see how these colored slightly outside the cell to get this effect go off. I think that's really cool. I love animation. Anyways,
Pikachu. You could literally drop Pokemon in 2005 and come back in 2019
and be completely lost. When did he get a Dragonite? When did he get a Gengar?
And Ash Ketchum will still be there.
That's the only thing that'll be the same, is that Ash Ketchum is still there. I could say, okay, watch this. You could watch Yu-Gi-Oh! In 1998 and then pick it back up in, when was Go Rush? Whenever, 2023? Sure. And they would still be playing card games. The cards would still be there. Who the fuck was that twink? That's Go. You don't know Go? You don't know Go? That's Ash's non-binary lover.
Emotional continuity was unbroken. But after Duel Monsters, the iconic characters that we love, Yugi, Kaiba, Joey.
Name one other character.
They're gone. King Beast put it simply in the replies.
No, you probably could.
Got too confusing.
You can say the same about Simpsons and SpongeBob. Well, that's how you become a multi-million-dollar industry. He's not arguing that it's good that this is. He's arguing, like, I will be, to be clear here, I don't want to straw man him. He's not arguing that it's good that they stayed the same necessarily. I think he's kind of leery, veering into that just a little bit. But the main thrust of the video is that that's why Pokemon is as successful as it is. And I don't think that's the case, but let's meet the argument where it is, right?
After 5Ds. And truly, it did. And that's the casual
5Ds is where it got confusing. 5Ds is where it got confusing.
fan experience in a nutshell. Once the motorcycle showed up and the protagonist changed up again, a lot of people quietly put down the cards and just...
No, dude. You put down the cards because you were a teenager now. But Trudge was there in season 1. He's still there in 5Ds. But no, the reason why people put down the game and 5Ds is because it was uncool to be into Pokemon anymore because you were a teenager. The internet loves to rewrite history. It begins rewriting history.
Never really picked it up again. One commenter in the Trevor Allen thread made a point that hit different. Yu-Gi-Oh! Basically abandoned its primary characters. There is no Ash and
Pikachu. But I don't think that's how you spell it.
Pikachu. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has iconic monsters it could have run with to become staples of the universe, but they chose not to do that. And Trevor's response was very honest. It's fair to say both were
Trevor Allen. By the way, keep an eye out on for Trevor Allen for Stuck in My Craw. Holy fuck, dude. We have a miserable Trevor Allen tweet for Stuck in My Craw next week. Ugh.
10 out of 10 stories at the beginning. Then Pokemon chose to copy and paste theirs every few years, which sounds lazy, but it's perfect for kids. And now...
But like, this is something you can only say if you didn't actually keep up with Pokemon as it went along. Like, I feel... I feel like you could only say this if you weren't actually watching Pokemon past the Kanto League. Only 2% of people seeing this know who this is. Oh, you mean Yuya Sakaki? Anyways, do you know who Tobias Pokemon is?
Parents and siblings can relate to it and appreciate it. I guess under 2%.
Do you know what was the Cacturn guy? The guy who is the rival of May in Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire and Emerald? What was the fucking guy? What was that guy's name? He was like her rival, and he dressed like a Cacturn, and he was like really gay coded. It was Harley, something like that. Yeah, he was super gay coded. It was awesome.
The people seeing this know who this is. Honestly, Trevor, I don't even know who that is, bro.
You play Yu-Gi-Oh, and you don't.
Is that Yuma? No. Yuma is. See.
I will say the fact that they're all their names are like Yuma, Yuya, Yugioh, Yugi. That's fucking insane. Why'd they do that? Name the Gen 5 rival. I dare you. Okay, so that season had the fucking grass type gym leader. I don't forget his name too, honestly. Chili, I think is the Japanese name. It had Iris, and the rival was I do not know. Zoe was like the Zoe was the girl that was like Dawn's friend and Candace's friend, like in Gen 4, right? Was that Zoe? I remember her because of well, let's just say I read some comics about her. And move on.
You see this? It even gets confusing for me. Okay? That guy right there in that picture, Yuma is from Zex.
Look, I was desperate for Yuri. Come on.
Oh, that is Yuva.
Trevor is the rival name.
No, Yuya.
Diet Paul, awesome.
That is Yuya from RV. There you go, Yuya.
Like, I think legitimately they were trying to do the U blank name to like, because Yu-Gi-Oh's name is based on a pun with Yugi's name, right? Yugi is like a name, but also if you add the O there, it means like King of Games, Yu-Gi-Oh, right? So every fucking Yu-Gi-Oh character since then has basically been adding on to the pun, except for as Dr. Alexander points out, fucking Judai for some reason. So they tried not having the pun, and then they're like, let's keep going with the pun. Wait, shit. It's Yuki, right? Because everyone just calls him Judai, but there is the Yuki in there. I forgot about the Yuki.
I almost got it wrong. And guys,
Yugioh!
That's the genius behind Pokemon's apparent laziness. The repetition of showing Ash Ketchum.
It's not laziness, and it's not fucking genius. It's just...
It wasn't a creative failure. It was a generational bridge. A dad who watched Pokemon in 1999 can watch it again with his kid in 2024 and feel at home. The shared experience is priceless, and it's something Yu-Gi-Oh cannot structurally offer the exact same way that Pokemon does.
Well, if they were to offer it, they would actually have to put their anime on TV. Like, this is so crazy to talk about without mentioning the fact that Yu-Gi-Oh isn't on TV in America. Like, they didn't put Rush Duels on TV. It's on streaming. They didn't put fucking any of the other shit on TV. Like, when was the last one that actually ran on TV? Right? Was it 5Ds? Did Zexel ever get on actual TV? I know it got a dub, but did it ever actually get on TV? Does anyone know? Okay, it was on TV. What about Arc V and Vrains? Why the fuck did Yugi use Griffor in Duelist Kingdom and never again? Why would they get rid of my favorite character, Griffor? Also, they tried, right? Karibo! Karibo was the Pikachu of Yu-Gi-Oh! And it just didn't catch on. That's all. They put some fucking version of Karibo in every single goddamn one. And it's just not that kind of show.
Does it? Here's one that Trevor Allen's thread dug into it with receipts. Literally, guys, with pictures. Trevor posted a side-by-side Pikachu on one side and the Wicked Worm Beast on the other.
Why would you use the Wicked Worm Beast as an example here? Like, if you're using the Wicked Worm Beast, shouldn't you be comparing it to, like, Garbodor or something? I don't know. Like, why would this be your comparison point? Not butthole, but yeah, Kai, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about Unstuck in My Craw. That's exactly what we're going to be talking about Unstuck in My Craw.
A grotesque, multi-limbed monster. That's your answer. Look at the two side by side. In general, Pokemon had a
look at the Wicked Worm Beast. Now look at let's do Blue Eyes White Dragon versus Lumineon. Let's do Dark Magician versus Pyukumuku.
a broader appeal to kids. Don't get me wrong, a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh cards are iconic and had appeal, but to a more selective group of kids. Plus, kids media in general has kind of shifted away from this monstrous, edgy look. Just look at the goosebumps fall off. And
this is... Hi there, yeah. Am I taking crazy pills here?
kind of shifted away from this monstrous...
Kids media shifted away from monstrous, edgy looks. Oh, it did? Oh, that's crazy. Anyways, let me go take a look at what's a recent Owl House is pretty recent, right? Owl House is a pretty recent kids media thing. Oh, well, that looks pretty cute. What's the villain look like? Oh, huh, he's got some sort of weird fucked up thing going on. Huh, weird. Oh, God. Well, let's look at something else instead. Maybe like Adventure Time. Oh, this is really cute. Yeah, it's moved away from the grotesque. Let's see what the villain of that looked like. Oh, huh. Weird. What are we talking about? Why are people who aren't kids and don't have kids talking about what kids are into?
Edgy look. Just look at the goosebumps fall off. And I agree with Trevor. There's a reason Pikachu is on everything from Gucci collaborations to literal airplanes. Anna Air.
And it's because they reach out. It's because they make those deals and Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't.
In Japan has been painting Pikachu on their jets since 1998. The character is universally approachable. A 5-year-old loves Pikachu.
Did you know don't you know every show is Bluey? Oh, that's true.
My mom even knows what a Pikachu is, but if I show her a Dark Magician, she'll get all confused, like, what is this?
The reason why Pokemon is so much bigger than Yu-Gi-Oh! Is because Pokemon is so much bigger than Yu-Gi-Oh!
Everybody knows Pikachu. Meanwhile, Yu-Gi-Oh's monster designs, genuinely incredible. Deeply creative, visually striking, but it's a different language. Dark Magician, Summon Skull, the Gate Guardian. These are cool to a specific kind of kid. That kid is real. I was that kid. And till this day, am still.
Only cool kids understand Yu-Gi-Oh! Not everyone can understand the complexity of the Dark Magician.
That kid. But that kid is a subset. Pokemon's Pikachu is for everybody. Jeffers in Trevor Allen's thread made a nuanced counterpoint worth including. Pokemon definitely has the broader appeal of cute monsters, especially amongst its biggest icons. But whenever you see references to any card game, you see Blue Eyes and Exodia before you see Charizard. Video games simply gain more mainstream traction.
This one is actually kind of a good point. This one is the first one that actually seems like a decent point. Is that Yu-Gi-Oh! Gave up on video games and Pokemon was like video games first instead of trading card games first.
And the TCGs. And that's a fair point. But the card game space is just one corner of the culture. Pokemon built a mansion. Yu-Gi-Oh! Built a really
Finally, the actual reason why it's the case. Yu-Gi-Oh! Does one thing and everyone else, Pokemon does everything. Again, this is the reason why.
Too much complexity added over the years.
Didn't we already cover this? Wait, didn't we already cover this? Are we going back to this?
In my opinion. Bleak also mentioned they really overcomplicated Yu-Gi-Oh! As the show went on. Pokemon maintain a certain familiarity that's easy to tap back into. And this is the death by 1,000 cuts that nobody talks about. Yu-Gi-Oh! In 2002...
Nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it.
Was pretty easy and accessible. You had monster cards, spell cards, you summon a monster, attack, and the main goal is just to bring your opponent's life points to 0. Kids could play it in the schoolyard without a rule book. Sometimes
because they didn't follow the rules.
We would even make our own rules.
Because you didn't know the rules, because you just watched the show and you didn't actually read the rule book, and that's why it wasn't complex, because you just didn't read.
Just go by straight up instinct, would just summon monsters.
You know, you can still do that, right?
Attack, just exactly like how the show.
How many people watch this?
Intended us to play. It was easy. It was simple. But
oh, you know, just, you know, every more views than my entire channel, probably.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Link summoning, synchro summoning, Xyz summon, pendulum summoning. Half of you guys watching this video probably don't even know what pendulum summoning is. What are we, the alphabet? X, Y, Z?
He knows his audience at least.
See, bro, I know. Trust me. Hand traps, Ash Blossom, Max C, 1020 negates, Call by the Grave, DDDs, 15.
Sam is a competitive player. Why is he doing this Yugi Boomer bait? It's crazy that someone as Yugi Boomer brained as Sam can be as good at modern Yu-Gi-Oh! As he is. I can't believe it.
30-minute turns in Yu-Gi-Oh! If you walked away from the game for 5 years and come back, I promise you, you're not going to be playing the same game. Dylan in the replies, capture the vibe.
Which is different from Pokemon. Which is different from Pokemon. Anyways, let me show you a tag battle card. Anyways, let me show you a Pokemon level X. Anyways, let me show you a Dynamax. Anyways, let me show you.
Perfectly with some dark humor. Everyone who loses ended up in the Shadow Realm. That's the player base divided by.
Oh, I hate this argument. I hate that there's a fundamental difference in the perspective of Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh. Tell me you didn't watch the show without telling me you didn't watch the show. They're both about friendship. They have the same fucking themes.
Every
Stop
year.
it.
Pokemon, you can just go to Pokemon Center and be on your way. Yu-Gi-Oh, you literally go to hell if you lose.
Like, that's not even the case. That's not even the case.
It's a joke, but it's kind of a harsh truth. Pokemon is warm, forgiving, and it's really easy to get into. But Yu-Gi-Oh!
And Yu-Gi-Oh! Is warm, forgiving, and really easy to get into.
It is intense, high stakes, and it's very demanding. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is really great for a competitive, dedicated community.
And Pokemon
in my
never has
opinion,
high stakes
it is
ever.
not
Don't watch the movies.
the biggest or the greatest when it comes to mass cultural longevity. Yu-Gi-Oh's big, don't get me wrong, but in comparison to Pokemon, that's a whole nother ball game, bro. Roberto Blake said it best in the replies, and it might be the
They literally made champions so VGC could be easier to get into. They did.
accurate take in the entire thread. It has just not the scale.
This is what Sam thinks is the most accurate comment in the entire thread.
Yu-Gi-Oh has a thriving community, but they didn't make the game itself too complicated.
It's just the same thing again. It's just the same thing again.
New players and OG players. The people who grew up playing this game, who watched Yu-Gi-Oh!
It's just the fifth comment that says the game too complicated.
Every card in the original sets. Even they got
Me
left
when I
behind
edit
as
my
the game
fucking
evolved.
video.
Link monsters, pendulum monsters.
Me when I
15
edit
and
my
30-minute
goddamn
turns,
script to make
and
it make
at some point,
sense.
The game stopped feeling like the one they fell in love with. And if you're a brand new player trying to get into Yu-Gi-Oh, let me be honest, it can get overwhelming. You're not just learning a card game that we all once knew. You're learning years of accumulative mechanics.
Remember that time Ash tried to throw hands with Mewtwo and died? And that's
changes
like
every few months.
that's some of the lowest stakes in all of the Pokemon movies. The Diamond and Pearl movies are fantastic, by the way. You should watch them. But they're also like they're about the dimensions being ripped apart by Dialga and Palkia and Giratina and Arceus.
Pokemon, on the other hand, is just really easy to get into. The rules are simple, the concept is very straightforward, and whether you're
Yeah, the concept is very straightforward. The rules are simple. The complexity, like Yu-Gi-Oh, is in the cards themselves.
6 years old picking up the cards for the
Remember
very
when
first
Pokemon had
time,
age
or
regression?
someone returning
And
after a
age,
10-year break,
it
Pokemon
had the
welcomed you
opposite too. It had
easier
age
than Yu-Gi-Oh,
progression.
Unfortunately, don't get me wrong.
That's
Yu-Gi-Oh
that's my new progression series. Where I'm taking a bunch of age regressors and have them progress through the ages.
built something incredible, but over time, the doors just got harder and harder to walk through. Meme Bastard in the reply said, it just wasn't as good
Oh, I gotta hear what Meme Bastard has to say.
at hooking people. Gotta catch them all was one hell of a gimmick. And look, I hear that, but let's
I don't know if I this one I'm kind of like on the fence on whether I agree with it or not, right? Like Yu-Gi-Oh obviously has its time to duel. Like
be fair here, because Yu-Gi-Oh has had one of the most
Okay, he's gonna say
iconic catchphrases of all time. It's time to duel.
but like there is something to be said about the ethos of the two things, like time to duel versus gotta catch 'em all. To be fair, again, this is a very American perspective. I don't know if gotta catch 'em all, like gotta catch 'em all is such a fucking for kids ass slogan, right? Is that the slogan of Pokemon in Japan? I don't know. I haven't done the research. If I was going to make a video on this, I would do that research. I would do the research onto what the catchphrase would have been in Japan. If I was going to make a video about it. If I were to say make a video that's 20 minutes long about why Yu-Gi-Oh had never had Pokemon's longevity, I would perhaps research the things I'm going to say. But as far as Americans go, there is something perhaps to that argument of whether like the specific branded catchphrases of gotta catch 'em all versus it's time to duel, both of which 4Kids inventions, made one franchise more successful than the other in the collector market, perhaps. I don't know. There could be something there. I would want to do more research into it to see, but you know.
It's time to duel!
Come on, you felt that. It's time to duel. God damn! Everyone who grew up in that era.
Again, a 4Kids invention. Like, it's so America brained. This video is so America brained for two Japanese franchises. Like, main premise of the video is flawed. Yu-Gi-Oh does have Pokemon's longevity. It's still around. We established that. It's talking about It's not to really, like, it should have changed the fucking title because he doesn't mean longevity. He means success.
Era felt that. The music kicks in, Yugi's hair goes all crazy. The
Were those
Millennium
Beckett
Puzzle all shines
magazines,
up.
by the way?
Oh my god.
I had a subscription to
Yami
Beckett
comes
Pokemon
out,
magazine.
You know what I'm saying? A temp comes out, the duel disc snaps wide open, and it's time to duel, baby. It's time to duel. That phrase alone could fill up an entire stadium.
Isn't he from Thailand living in Canada? Yes, I believe that's true. He's unfortunately for us, for Canadians rather, your culture is our culture. I'm so sorry. We've completely subsumed your culture for the most part.
Nostalgia, and I promise you that. So it's not that Yu-Gi-Oh didn't have a hook. It absolutely did. The problem is what each hook,
especially when it comes to
asks you
4Kids
do.
shit.
It's time to duel. I'm gonna be honest. Feels like a battle cry. You know what I'm saying? Like it's time to duel.
It feels like a battle cry.
It's time. It's that time, baby. It's time
No,
to
I
get
am
your hands
American.
dirty.
I'm saying too bad for Canadians. We just completely destroyed their culture
Importantly,
and replaced it with
it's
our
an
own.
invitation to compete, and competition has a winner and has a loser. It speaks to a different kind of person. It speaks to the kid who wants to truly test themselves, like me. You know what I'm saying? It's time to duel, but gotta catch them all. I'm gonna be honest. It's completely different. Everybody also knows, you know, gotta catch them all. You know what I'm saying? It's Pokemon, and I'll be honest. Gotta catch them all feels like a potion loop. You know, this catchphrase doesn't feel like it's asking you to compete. It asks you to collect. Collection has no losers. There's just no wrong way to do it. Collecting is, you know, you're never done, and there's
But yeah, I think you can forgive me for forgetting that Sam was Canadian based on his attitude.
always more. And the franchise
that's
makes
just
sure of that by adding
that's
new
nothing.
Pokemon in constantly every few
Stupid bit.
years. Both phrases are iconic, but unfortunately, one of them had a ceiling while the other didn't.
Okay, I don't know that that's the case. Yeah, I think it's more a matter of Pokemon marketing themselves as a collection thing, whereas Yu-Gi-Oh markets itself as a card game you play. And only just now are really getting into like heavy collection stuff with the fucking numbered cards, serialized cards and shit like that.
And now it's time to actually take a look on where both franchises actually sit at. Pokemon's total all-time revenue is over $150 billion in 2020.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's not even like if that's total all-time revenue, that's not even like cracking like as a company evaluated that much.
24 alone,
That's
nearly
total
12
all-time
billion
revenue.
Pokemon cards were distributed worldwide, and merchandise sales hit 10.8 billion.
Canada's fun because we try to say we're polite American and stuff. Meanwhile, our popular streamers are some of the biggest pieces of shit out there. Yeah, and like I wouldn't necessarily say that Sam is one of those, but you got some, you have some, and you import like crazy right-wing assholes to us like Jordan Peterson sometimes too. But you also import some really cool musicians. So you know, who's to say? Who's to say if it's bad or good?
The franchise brings in over 12 billion
XQC,
per year.
yeah.
12 Bs per year, bro. Mostly for merchandise. The anime has been watched by more
seen?
than 1 billion people
Yeah.
across 138 countries.
What did that say?
It has been watched by more than 1 billion people.
Hey, chat, can you read what that says? Hey, chat, can you read what that says? Half of a quarter. Half of a quarter? Do you mean an eighth? 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 Half of a quarter. Me, I was learning fractions in 3rd grade. Half of a quarter sounds bigger. It does, unfortunately, sound bigger, is the problem.
Across 138 countries, it is the highest grossing media franchise in human history, fam.
And that's why it has... that's why it's bigger than Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it's the biggest fucking media franchise.
That's crazy. Pokemon is ahead of Star Wars, ahead of Marvel, ahead of Mickey Mouse.
I'm going to make a video called Why Disney Never Had Pokemon's Longevity. Why Star Wars never had Pokemon's longevity.
Yu-Gi-Oh, on the other hand, has an estimated total revenue of $20 billion, which is huge. It's a lot.
Look at that. Yu-Gi-Oh! It doesn't ever feel like it, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just behind James Bond? We're just slightly behind Lord of the Rings? How? It doesn't feel like that big of a franchise, but it is apparently.
Still a massive
I think it's insane that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that fucking far.
number, an incredible achievement. Sad to say it, but
I'm gonna make a video called Why Magic the Gathering Never Had Yu-Gi-Oh's Longevity. Where the fuck are they on this list, huh?
Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just a fraction when it comes to comparing itself to Pokemon. And that gap, unfortunately, isn't closing. It's widening. Because Pokemon
is a fucking growth industry.
Is a licensing machine. It's a video game pipeline. It's a card collecting boom. And Pokemon cards are
I'm glad we're settling on the real reason, which is just that Pokemon is everything.
Like, what? And it's multi-generational nostalgia.
Okay, but you realize that's basically like saying NFTs are an investment.
Engine all firing simultaneously in a way
it's slightly better than that.
Simply doesn't allow for. First, let's be clear about something. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not a failure. Not even close. 35 billion cards sold, that's an accomplishment.
Okay. Is it 35 billion cards sold or $35 billion? Because he said cards sold. On screen, it says dollars. Those are not the same thing.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Is one of the most iconic animes in history. A trading card game that still runs massive tournaments worldwide to this day. A catchphrase that...
for a media company that doesn't run an anime anymore, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is actually doing incredible.
An entire generation can recite without even thinking. Characters that people genuinely love decades later. That is not a franchise that lost. That is a franchise that won. But just not at the same scale as the greatest media empire ever built. And that's the most honest answer to that question. It was never really about Yu-Gi-Oh! Doing something wrong. It was just about two franchises being built for fundamentally different purposes. And one of those purposes happened to have no ceiling. Pokemon was built to be everything for everyone.
Finally, 20 minutes in, he gets to the point I made 1 second in.
Deliberately or accidentally,
Everyone,
it became a video.
put your hands together.
Art Emery, thank you for the raid. Welcome, welcome, Raiders. I'm losing my mind to this stupid fucking video. Thank you for the raid. I hope you're having a good time.
Video game, a TV show, a card game, a toy line, a mobile app, a fashion statement, a collector's market, and a childhood memory, all at once, all reinforcing each other. Pokemon scaled with you as you were growing up, and it was always there, the same, when you always wanted to come back. Ash Ketchum.
Well, it's not the same. It's not the same. We've established that it's not the same.
Over 2 decades? That is insane. Yu-Gi-Oh! Was built for a specific kind of person.
But what about Misty?
A kid who wanted a real challenge, who loved
Go take some
strategy,
cold
who loved
medicine.
competition,
Yeah, I hope you feel better.
who felt something
Fuck.
when Yugi drew the card he needed at the last possible second. That kid is real, and that
Thanks for the
kid
raid.
is me. And millions of us exist. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Gave us something that Pokemon could never do. A game with actual depth.
You know it's an
and
Ian stream when we're fucking
Pokemon
yelling
cast
at
the wildest net in
videos on
history
YouTube.
and caught everybody. Yu-Gi-Oh! On the other hand, cast a more deliberate net and caught the people who were looking for exactly
Deliberate net of
what
card
it offered.
gamers.
And those people like myself and all of you guys who are watching who are Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans, we never forgot it. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is in our roots. So it's not that Yu-Gi-Oh! Didn't have longevity. It's just that Pokemon's longevity became
That is actually, Fair Lord, that's actually kind of a good way to put it a little bit. At least a good way to put one aspect of this. Everyone's a Pokemon fan because there's a Pokemon thing for everyone. It tells you nothing about them. Whereas a Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan, it tells you that they're sexist. No, I'm kidding. It tells you that they like card games, probably.
that genuinely never been seen before in human history. Comparing anything to that isn't a knock. It's just the reality of what Pokemon became. So why didn't
Either that
Yu-Gi-Oh
or they're
have
a
the same
Yugi boomer.
longevity as Pokemon? The real answer is almost nothing did. Almost nothing ever will. At the end of the day, both of these franchises
There's still more video?
changed the generation. If you grew up in the late 90s or the early 2000s, one of these or both.
Why are we doing a
meant something real to
second
you.
conclusion?
And like myself, I love both. I grew up watching Yu-Gi-Oh! And I grew up watching Pokemon. And you see, I'm not playing Pokemon to this day because I resonated with Yu-Gi-Oh! The most. Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Both weren't just card games. They were how we made friends. It's how we spent our allowance and how we learned that losing could hurt and winning could feel incredible. It's just so that one of them became a $150 billion empire, while the other is still out there, still competing, and still dueling. And honestly, that question tells you everything you need to know. Yu-Gi-Oh! Still lives. And hey guys, if you guys enjoyed this type of content where, I break down, tweets and threads and answer Paul
I like that that's the way he's describing it, where he breaks down tweets and threads.
culture questions in regards to Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, and things like that, please let me know in the comments below if you guys enjoy this type of content, and be sure to subscribe for
Please leave video essays to the video essayists. All right. So last time I promised you we were going to watch this video. Last time, Yu-Gi-Oh! Tuesday, we were watching a bunch of videos about failed card games. Well, apparently fucking Dan A Drive, creator and founder and discoverer of Elestrals, made a video about why Kickstarter TCGs fail, and people were saying I should watch it and react to it. So let's fucking
Just
go.
the last 2 years, MetaZoo, a TCG that was selling at Target, shut down overnight, wiped its social media, and filed for bankruptcy. Altered, a game
Ali, you're 100% right. It is MBT Twitter threads, but way too long and bad. But there's really slick editing, so nobody notices the difference. Except for me.
that raised over $7
And all of
million
you.
on Kickstarter just announced its closing after failing to raise the $2 million it needed to
These are the two we watched. We watched the Altered and the MetaZoo
going, and
videos.
Nostalgics quietly faded away after a promising start. Meanwhile, the Cyberpunk TCG just shattered the all-time Kickstarter record
Okay, but that's Cyberpunk. That's an established IP.
for a card game at over $10 million. And right now, thousands of people are about to back the next Kickstarter TCG, thinking they're getting in on the ground floor of the next Pokemon, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, or maybe Riftbound. But the truth is, most of them won't make it. I
Oh yeah, man. I want to be in on the next Riftbound.
know this because I'm someone who built a Kickstarter TCG that has made it, at least so far. My name is
So far, yeah. So far it has.
Dan or A-Drive. I'm a Pokemon content creator with millions of followers online, and I'm the creator and CEO of Elestrals, a trading card game that raised $1.5 million on Kickstarter, is in over 400 stores worldwide, and we just hosted our first World Championship. We're about to release our 7th trading card game set.
And it's about to break the fucking game.
Listen, I'm not here to dunk on anyone. I have tremendous respect for anyone who goes out and tries to create their own trading card game or
I don't. Fuck them.
tries to create something of value on Kickstarter in the first place. If anyone knows, it's me. This is one of the hardest things that I've ever done in my life. I've watched game after game come and go, and
Come?
the reasons are almost
Sorry.
always
But I will say, this is going to be... As we watch this video, there is a sword of Damocles hanging over the head of the entire thing. And that sword is Elestral's Clash. If you haven't watched my video or the stream where I talked about this, Elestral's Clash was a Kickstarter he ran for a digital sim for Elestrals. And it fucking fell apart after he funded it. It's up in the air as to whether it will ever be a thing again because of his mismanagement.
is the same. And honestly, most of the reasons have nothing to do with whether or not the game is good or the people behind it care. Here's what nobody tells you about building a Kickstarter TCG from someone who's actually done it. Let's start with the hardest truth in the industry. A successful Kickstarter campaign is not a successful business. It's a starting gun, and most people mistake it for the finish line. When Altered raised $7 million, the narrative was, this is the next big thing. When MetaZoo was selling at Target, the narrative was, they made it. When any new TCG hits $1 million on Kickstarter, the comments say, this could be a Pokemon killer. But here's what I learned.
If you ever say this could be a Pokemon killer, you're a fucking moron, and I have a bridge to sell you.
Learn building Alestrals. The Kickstarter money doesn't last as long as you think. Manufacturing a trading card game at scale is expensive. Shipping globally is expensive.
A-Drive would know. A-Drive would know, because he doesn't fucking ship his product overseas.
Fulfillment is expensive. And the moment the campaign ends, you're not a funded startup anymore. You're a business that needs to generate revenue every single month to survive. The Kickstarter funds are
how much for the bridge?
Before they even hit your bank account. You're paying for the product that you
$100.
already promised, not the company you need to build. After I raised $1.4 million on Kickstarter with Alestrals, I felt a deep obligation to the people who supported me on the campaign. So much so that I took a significant step back from content creation to be able to focus on building the business. I needed to deliver an amazing product, and I needed to deliver on all the
And now he's taking a significant step back from the business to focus on content creation because he wasn't really good at running the business.
promises that I made going into that campaign and the things that I said throughout it. I poured tremendous amounts of time, passion, commitment, and my own money to be able to bring Alestrals to life, but it was a very, very long period to go from Kickstarter to actually delivering the Kickstarter to then being able to launch as a game. Many of you guys remember our timeline. We launched on Kickstarter at the end of 22. We delivered the Kickstarter summer of 23, but I didn't launch my e-commerce shop and my next set until spring of 2024. That means that I had to make it that long with the money that I had from Kickstarter, and I'll tell you, it doesn't last. It goes really quick. The games that die aren't the ones that fail on Kickstarter.
I didn't mean to press it that time.
Succeed on Kickstarter, but then can't figure out what comes next, and that's honestly the hardest part. Now,
but that's not why MetaZoo or Altered failed. But that's just also, I love this screenshot, by the way. But that's just not why MetaZoo or Altered failed. They both knew what came next, and what they wanted to have come next fucking sucked, and nobody liked it, so they died.
before I go any further, I want to make this crystal clear. I certainly haven't figured everything out. I'm an indie TCG trying to find my way in this crazy, crowded bloodbath of an industry, and every day I show up and I get punched in the face, and I'm just trying to do right by my players and my community and make the best game I possibly can. Don't take this video as anything other than me just giving my perspective and trying to shed some light on a situation that a lot of people are talking about right now, but maybe don't have the unique insights that I can provide. This next piece is the thing that kills more Kickstarter TCGs than anything else. You can have the best card game ever designed, but if people don't have a place to play it, it dies.
A-Drive! No one has a place to play Alestrals! You can't say this!
This was something that I did not realize going into Alestrals.
Ah!
It took us a long time to get things off the ground, but it's been transformative since we did.
Since you did past tense? Past tense? You are losing shops, motherfucker!
Trading card games are not board games. You don't buy a TCG, play it twice with your family, and put it on a shelf. A TCG needs a local community. It needs a store where people show up on Friday night and play. It needs organized play. It needs tournaments, and it needs a reason
This one's driving me more insane than the Sam one, actually.
for people to buy new cards. And getting into stores, that's an entirely different battle. Store owners are burned, and they continue to get burned. They've been burned by MetaZoo, they've been burned by Altered, they've been
burned by Alestrals.
burned by tons of TCGs of the past. And again, no shade on those guys. It's not for lack of effort or trying. It's just the reality of a very difficult market. They've watched game after game get hyped on Kickstarter, take up space on their shelves for months, and then die, leaving them with inventory they can't sell or prices they need to floor just to clear it with a player base that isn't active anymore at their store. Convincing a store owner to carry your TCG in 2026 when they've been burned by the last 3 Kickstarter TCGs, That takes trust, and it takes a lot of proof of concept to get them to even consider you in the first place. I know, I've cold called stores and had conversations with owners hundreds and hundreds of times, and a lot of the time it's, well, why am I gonna believe you, random guy on the internet, when I'm sitting on this many boxes of old MetaZoo? It takes showing up. It takes organized play kits. It takes demo decks. It takes proving that your game has actual players who will go into the store and teach other people how to play, which is why we put such an emphasis on our ambassador program, and we've been spending the last few months building out our ambassador team, because we really need people who are going to show up at the store and teach other people how to play. So
maybe you should give them more shit for doing your work for free.
Now, I mentioned earlier, Illustrals is in about 400 stores, but we're
maybe even
continuing
pay them
to push the envelope and continue to build out our organized play. We just rolled out a whole new organized play plan. We're continuing to find more incentives and reasons for people to show up every single week and enjoy our game. And
I feel like at the beginning of Illustrals, I wouldn't have been this mean to a video A Drive put out, but the past like year or so has been Illustrals trying to become the big boy company. And this is how I treat big boy companies, right? So it's showing actually a show of respect when you think about it.
Every single week, that's our goal. But it's not easy, and we've had stores that have not had success with us too. There's been stores that say, hey, listen, there's not enough interest right now in my town. I can't keep carrying the game, and that sucks. But the reality of it is we have to just keep pushing forward, continue to focus on the players that want to play and can play and are interested in teaching other people to play, and continue to support the stores that are giving us a chance, because again, I can't blame them. They've been burned so many times, and the next TCG is right around the corner, and who's to say that they're not the next shiny thing that's going to pop out for a few months and then vanish? Altered's own shutdown letter acknowledged this. They specifically thanked the store owners who bet on an independent French TCG with an original universe and no established license to lean on. That bet unfortunately didn't pay off. For Illustrals, it's so important to me to make sure that it pays off for the store owners. I legitimately have calls with store owners and distributors, and I tell them, listen, I don't want you to buy this if it's going to sit on your shelf. I want it to sell. I don't want it to sell it to you if we're not going to sell it. That is my goal. I want them to make money too. That is the whole point of this. If a store owner is not going to be able to make money selling my product, then it does not make sense for the store to carry the product. It's really that simple. But the reality of it is, to make this work takes a tremendous amount of effort. And there's no playbook for this. When I started the Illustrals, I had no idea about organized play and the importance of local game store support.
You didn't? I mean, this explains so much. This explains so much is the thing. This is a fucking confession.
And all of these different things, we've had to build it slowly over the last couple of years.
Wait, you have to sell cards?
Player feedback, take in store feedback. We have our ears to the ground and we're listening and we are adapting. And that's what makes us unique. And that's why I think we're still standing after about to release our 7th set, is because I am so committed to being able to deliver on these promises. And again, I'm not going to say that I haven't fumbled.
Because you hired Hat. Because you hired Hat, the person who knows what's going on.
Or failed or had stores not carry us anymore. It's happened and it kills me inside. But at the end of the day, I got to show up every single day and try to deliver a game that is exciting for the people who want to play it and for the store owners who are going to carry it. The next thing is something that nobody talks about until they're drowning in it, and that's going global with a physical card game.
No, you can't talk. No, you don't, ooh.
It's one of the most logistically complex things a small company can attempt. Manufacturing. Where do you print? Are you printing domestic or are you printing overseas? What's your quality control process? What happens when a print run has errors? Boy, oh boy, do I know this inside and out, because I have used 5 different print manufacturers since I began. I've used the best of the best, the guys who are printing the card games that sit on every shelf in every big box retail store in the world.
And they still curl.
Also use no-name manufacturers in China that you've probably never heard of, but surprisingly, they produce some of the best quality cards I've ever had. This is probably the biggest challenge of all time, and maybe the big IPs and the billion-dollar companies have it a little easier here because they probably have vetted partners and vetted contacts. But if you're an indie Kickstarter TCG, chances are you don't know the answers to these questions, and you're going to be stumbling through trying to find a rock-solid manufacturing partner that's not only going to provide excellent quality, but they're going to prioritize your product and make sure you can hit your deadlines. Because when you're dealing with a global product, It is very difficult to get it all around the world, and I can tell you last summer was an absolute nightmare dealing with tariffs, having my product all of a sudden cost double overnight, actually more than that, and getting hit with hundreds of thousands of dollars of fees of product that was already on its way. How can I account for that as a small business owner just trying to pay my team? You can't. You got to roll with the punches. And I told you earlier, I get punched in the face every day. That was a really rough period of time. I was getting punched every single day, multiple times a day, just trying to keep my game alive. Fulfillment. How do you get your
But don't worry, folks. Tariffs were good for the American economy, definitely.
product to customers in multiple different countries? Do you have regional warehouses, or do you ship everything from one location? What are the customs implications? What are your tariff implications?
Okay, well, he's talking about tariffs. Let's go ahead and take a quick little ad break. We'll be right back.
The Colossus of Rhodes, the mammoth lighthouse of Alexandria, the giant tomb of King Mausolus, the towering temple of Diana, the enormous statue of Jupiter, and now, the eighth wonder of the world, King Kong. The most exciting original motion picture event of all time, King Kong. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested.
And we're back.
Because again, tariffs are a real factor that can change your margins and your model completely overnight. We rolled out as a global trading card game. When I launched Kickstarter, I wanted to be able to deliver to players all over the world, partially because I had a global audience as a Pokemon content creator. I knew there were people who were watching me in South America and in the UK and in EU in the Netherlands and so on and so forth. So to me,
The EU and the Netherlands separately? Isn't the Netherlands part of the EU? Am I wrong on that?
Wanted to
I thought they
deliver
were.
globally. But boy, oh boy, is that a challenge, because as you start shipping globally, you get hit with all sorts of other challenges, like, again, taxes and fees and shipping charges. Your margins
It is.
shrink because
I
you
thought
need to
so.
get it there, and it's very
What a weird thing to
do
say.
so, and it can become a nightmare because a lot of these countries are not going to make up as big of a part of the big pie as maybe the United States is. So when we look at our business, only a fraction of the players of Illustrals are international, majority are US, but we want to continue to support our international players. However, it becomes challenging because, again, as I mentioned earlier, if people aren't showing up at the store to play, then it's hard to get stores to want to carry it. And it's harder to do that in regions that don't have as much support. And it's hard to support those regions when you don't have the players. So it creates this really interesting and challenging cycle that we just got to figure out. You got to push through it. And one of the things that we've been working towards is working on getting our fulfillment to happen in those countries rather than have it all be shipped out of the United States. So it's a slow process to set this stuff up, but in the long term, I'm sure it'll pay off. And partnerships, man, this is the area I can spend days talking about, but I'll try to keep this video concise. One of the biggest challenges of creating an independent trading card game or any business is the partnerships you enter.
Yeah,
Who's gonna
Zuchi.
handle these parts of the business that you're not going to? I can't manufacture the trading cards. For those who don't know, you need millions and millions and millions of dollars of specialized equipment to create trading cards. I
Just buy it, idiot. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
can't do the fulfillment. You need a warehouse that can house dozens and dozens of pallets worth of goods and fulfill them in a timely manner. I can't handle my distribution. I don't have the store contacts or the net.
You know what would be a really cool thing that you could have as a means to get around a lot of this, really loosen some of the burden on this, perhaps, is a digital card game sim that would take up a lot of the burden, particularly of the global side of things. It would make it really easy for global players to play the game. I think you should get on that, A Drive. I think a card game sim would actually be really good for Electro.
Work or the trucking or the logistics to be able to distribute freight and pallets of product to stores across the country. So we have to partner with various companies to be able to uphold these different obligations as a trading card game. And who you partner with matters as much as anything else because you're relying on them to.
The funny thing is, Alakazam, they do have a dueling book. There is an Elestrals dueling book already in existence. The Law Yu-Gi-Oh made a sim for Elestrals that basically is a dueling book. It works perfectly fine.
Be an extended arm of your business.
It's just like not many people know about it.
Or struggle to deliver, then it's the company that looks bad. And as I said, I've had my fair share of rough partners. I'm on my 5th manufacturing partner for my trading cards. I'm on my 4th fulfillment partner. I have gone through the ringer many times, and I don't think it's by choosing bad. I've used partners that, again, are established, are notorious in the industry, have done the biggest games in the world, and I still have had challenges. So that is probably the biggest piece of the puzzle. I highly recommend you do your research, and I highly recommend you test people out before you go use them all the way, because a bad partner can really, really cause your business to suffer. MetaZoo cited logistical and product gridlocks as one of the reasons they shut down. That's not corporate speak. That's very descriptive of what happens when your supply chain breaks and you can't get product to the people who already paid for it.
That's not why MetaZoo died, though. That's not why MetaZoo died, though.
Quick little story. Our 6-set live stream was set to come out in fall. We ended up having a situation where we buffered multiple weeks to be able to get the product to our distributors. The manufacturer ended up encountering delays that weren't our fault, and as a result of it, we were forced to overnight ship hundreds of packages to our players to ensure that they can get things on time for an event that we were hosting to kick off the new set. This was a logistical nightmare. I'm not kidding when I say that I was overnight air shipping pallets of goods to stores to make sure we can hit our delivery dates. We lost so much money that week to be able to deliver on these timelines that were not our problem. Like, we did not cause these problems. We had a manufacturing delay that had nothing to do with anything that my team was doing, and it caused us legitimately tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars in expedited shipping and headaches and over hours and all this other stuff just to be able to deliver. We did it about 70%. Some people ended up getting their stuff late. We did everything we could, but these are the things that are out of your control. No matter how much time I buffer, it feels like we get kicked once in a while here as something goes wrong along the process. So if there's one thing I could say to anyone out there trying to start an indie TCG or any business like this, Whatever time you think it's gonna take to do something, just like triple it, because you're gonna need that extra time. Something is always gonna come up and go wrong. Now this next part is where I really want to pull back the curtain. When people think about making a TCG, they think about the fun parts. Designing the cards, building the lore, creating the artwork, and those things matter, but they're a fraction of the entire process of what actually keeps a TCG alive. And when I think about my roles at Alestrals, some of my favorite things are designing the cards and directing the art.
Which... A-Drive, please stop designing the cards. You don't know how to design cards. Please
Those are
stop.
two of my crucial tasks as the CEO of this company. But again, those aren't the things that are necessarily going to move the needle. The other 80% of the business of creating a trading card game is building systems. And if you don't build those systems, you're not going to make it. Organize play. You need a tournament structure, rules documents, judge training, prize support, a system for stores to register and run events, a way to track standings and rankings. This is an entire department of work, and most indie TCGs don't even think about it until year 2. That was our case. We didn't launch organized play until like end of 2024, basically. And at that point, you've lost so much interest from your player base that it's really difficult to be able to get them back into your ecosystem if they don't have any reason to go to the store and play. Metagame balance. Every set you release changes the metagame. Are you playtesting enough?
Do I even need to say anything to this one?
You have a competitive team that's going to analyze what's broken? Are you willing to ban or errata cards that are warping your formats? Balancing a living card game is a permanent job. It never stops. And if your meta gets stale or broken, your competitive players leave. And honestly, your casual players get frustrated too, creating a very difficult situation. Game balance is an insurmountable challenge because everyone has a different perspective of how they want the game to play. But
it's not an Alestrals thing. It's why didn't you think of this before you're into it? Why wouldn't this be one of the first things you think of?
The goal is to try to get as many people excited about the metagame as possible. I can tell you that we've banned a lot of cards, and these are unfortunate mistakes of creating a new TCG and learning. I never made a game before. Alestrals is my passion project. This is something that I created out of thin air with crazy ideas from inspiration from other places and whatever I can put together, and
I don't know. It's just becoming abundantly clear that there was no plan going into it for Alestrals. It was literally just a whim, and he had the ability, wherewithal, and connections to make it happen. Which honestly is kind of impressive in his own right. But it's fascinating. It's fascinating to hear how little A-Drive actually thought about the realities of creating a card game before making it. It's fascinating.
made some really awesome cards and some really great sets, but there were some balancing issues.
And the fact that he's externalizing it to other card games. Meta balancing is not what killed MetaZoo. The NFTs are what killed MetaZoo.
Still have been balancing issues. I do feel a lot better about it going into our next couple sets. We've done a really good job, but we've also had to adjust the philosophy.
Oh, you feel better about it going into the next set? Do you? Do you?
Because it is a living, breathing thing, and you got to get it right, and you got to react, and you
I don't.
Be, proactive. And you gotta
maybe the next set after that, when you have had time to adjust, but next set's going to be miserable.
Erratas or whatever it may be, it's a beast. You got to be on top of it. Marketing and ease of
a
access.
Mr. Beast.
How does someone who's never heard of your game find it? How do they learn it? Is there a starter deck? Is there a tutorial? Is there a digital version? Can they watch someone play it on YouTube and understand what's happening? If the answer to any of these is no, or we'll figure it out later, then you're already behind.
The funny thing about this one is that this one was actually a factor in why MetaZoo failed. People backed the MetaZoo Kickstarter without actually knowing how the game played. Isn't that crazy? They were like fully funded before they released a fucking video showing you how the game was played.
This has been one of the biggest hurdles that I've encountered in creating Alestrals. I have some advantages in that I have a content channel and I know how to make content, but even that isn't the easiest pathway. Teaching someone a trading card game through a short form video is very challenging, and getting them to sit down and watch a how to play guide is challenging too. The best way to teach someone the game is to sit down in front of them and show them, and I can do that through certain avenues, but it's very difficult to get that in front of the tens and thousands of people that I want to reach with my game. So how do you solve these problems? Well, I thought it was a digital client. That was where we put a lot of effort into. I talk about succeeding as a Kickstarter TCG, but so far I have failed to deliver on my video game version of my TCG. We raised about $500,000 to create Alestral's Clash, a digital TCG client. And I've put out statements that, you know, I've gone through legal review to discuss this, and we're working on trying to make good on that delivery. But up to this point, I consider that a failure. And it's very unfortunate, is the reality of it. That just shows that even if you can win in one area, it's very difficult to win in others. And you get punched every single day, and you just kind of get back up and do the best you can. I am working very...
Would you perhaps say you get knocked down and you get up again? Also, this is Dyer? This is footage of Dyer playing, by the way? I don't see even mentioning that.
Very hard on this side of things, though. It's so important to be able to get your game in front of people and be able to teach them how to play. For us, for Alestrals, we're focusing really heavy on conventions right now. We're doing card party, we're doing in-person events, but those aren't cheap. They're not free. They're expensive. I gotta pay people to travel to these events. I gotta pay for the booth. I gotta pay to get all my stuff there. And then I gotta hope that people are interested enough to come learn my game, and I can maybe sell some product to cover some of my costs. It's not an easy situation, and that's gonna be the most effective way to get in front of people. Now, it's worth noting that a lot of these games, these billion-dollar IPs, they come to the surface and they've already got interest, they've already got lore, they've already got story. That gives them a huge leg up. But why do we see some of them failing too? It's quite interesting. E-commerce is another piece of the puzzle. Do you have a functional online store? Can international customers buy from you? What's your shipping cost structure? Are you running your own warehouse or are you using a 3PL? This alone can sink a small company, and I'll tell you, we have an e-commerce shop. That's something that I think
I don't know. I think some of the things he's mentioning here are obvious, and it's very funny that they're so obvious. And he's talking about like, oh, I didn't know this until a year in. And it's like, yeah, I kind of figured that out, unfortunately. But I think generally, I don't know why people were so keen on me watching this actually, because this is generally, it's probably because of that, honest. But there's a lot to this that's like, I think important. Not necessarily because it's not stuff you would think about, but it's like, it's getting you thinking about it, right? Some things that could just slip your mind.
We've done pretty well on. We have a really nice site that people can go purchase from us, but we're shipping from one warehouse in Texas. We don't have global.
It's like a good reminder of the things you need to think about, I think.
Customers. We had a product that was a monthly subscription service where people were subscribing every single month, and we were shipping them these exclusive packs. But because it was so expensive to ship, not just for us, but for the players, I actually decided to scrap that program, and we're reinventing that product to be able to reduce the shipping charges for our players in the future by consolidating a monthly program into a quarterly program. A little bit different vision, but I think it'll ultimately be better off for our players. This is what I mean by building the plane while you're flying it. You launch on Kickstarter with a great game, and then you realize you need to simultaneously build a tournament.
Yeah, I do feel like starting digital is a good way to build a fan base that is pre-existing that you can then go physical with. Although there is also the other hand of that, where it's like, if you're focused on digital, how are you going to get people to convert to physical? That's a question.
The next set because
if that's your goal is to have physical.
If you made it this far in the video, I want you to actually go rewatch that little paragraph I just said, because I feel like that highlights so much about why indie TCGs and Kickstarter TCGs fail. You are legitimately building the plane while flying it. You are not just building a card game. You are building an entire business that focuses around multiple pieces for fulfillment, distribution, e-commerce, in-person events, logistics, support, all of these different things, all while hoping your partners can do the things that you're paying them to do and not mess it up, and ensuring that you're able to connect with your community, listen to their feedback, and build the next set so you can keep the game moving. Now, here's something that might surprise people. Having a massive IP doesn't guarantee your success either. We've seen it.
Okay, Duel Masters only kind of has the massive IP of Magic the Gathering.
Over and over again.
Also, Duel Masters is still successful in Japan, where it was meant to be successful. Why are we shitting on Duel
Brands enter the
Masters?
TCG space thinking that IP alone will carry them. And some have worked. Listen, Disney Lorcana has crushed it. They found their audience. One Piece TCG is thriving in certain markets. Riftbound is one of the biggest players on the planet. But others have struggled despite having IPs that are globally recognized. Why? Because they build the game, but not the systems. A big IP will get you
clip art
attention.
ass.
It's gonna get you initial sales. It'll get you shelf space at retail, but it doesn't get you organized play. It doesn't get you competitive community. It doesn't get you a metagame balance. It doesn't get you the Friday night regulars at the local shop who keep coming back week after week. The TCGs that survive long-term, the Pokemons, the Magics, the Yu-Gi-Ohs, they didn't just make great games. They built ecosystems, and it took time. Tournament circuits, judge programs, digital platforms, content creator partnerships, community infrastructure at every level from kitchen table to the world championships. As an indie developer without a major IP, Alestrals has to do all of that from scratch. We don't get the benefit of a pre-existing fan base walking into stores asking for our product. Every single player we have, we earned. And that's actually been our advantage because we built the systems from day one instead of assuming the IP could carry us. We have a saying at Alestrals, and this is something I preach to my entire team. It's brick by brick. I really want to emphasize that every single player matters. Every single store matters. Every single interaction point we have matters. It is brick by brick. It is one player at a time, one store at a time. That is how we will build Alestrals. That's something that I
don't know. It's a fine thing to be your slogan. It's just it always gets me when a company has slogans as like sayings. We have a saying at our company. Always gets me.
That I've had is building out the franchise as a multi-dimensional IP. I mentioned my struggles with Alestrals Clash going digital, but one of the things that we have not struggled on, thankfully, is our RPG Alestrals Awaken. Last fall, we went back to Kickstarter. We raised $1.5 million to deliver the Alestrals Awaken RPG Kickstarter. So far, that team.
We have a saying at our company: make thing, get money.
So proud of that. But what that is going to do for us is set us up.
It really does remind me of like the posters. Again, to reference the Dan Olsen Mr. Beast video. It reminds me of the fucking posters in the Mr. Beast studios where they're like, they have all these stupid slogans on there. My dumb take on Kickstarter TCGs is why not just make it a one-time purchase video game that you play with people in a Discord server? I think the answer is probably that you get more money for operating a casino for investment bros, but that's lame. You don't even have to, if you want to have a physical card game, you can make a living card game. We have a means by which to make a physical card game in a non-exploitative manner that doesn't require as much infrastructure of constantly printing cards like this. You could do what Alter TCG was trying to do, where you kickstart every individual set, but at a more reasonable level because you're not constantly printing products and constantly having to create what Altered was doing, which was the print by demand fucking thing. Insane. So like, I don't understand why any new card game coming up these days is about pulling packs, about cracking packs. If you're not trying to be evil. I'm not saying Alestrals trying to be evil, but like, I don't like it just, I think Alestrals, I think Dan A Drive just didn't think about it. He wanted to have the cracking packs because he wanted to be Pokemon. He wanted it to be Pokemon, and Pokemon cracks packs. Pokemon has a video game. Alestrals anime coming soon. They had those lore videos early on. So like the only reason I legitimately think the only reason Alestrals is a cracking packs TCG and not a living card game is because of that. Is because A Drive wants to make his own Pokemon. And Pokemon cracks packs. It's mimicry. It's just pure mimicry.
A multi-dimensional IP. It's going to introduce people to my trading card game and the Alestrals franchise that maybe wouldn't come across it if it was just a trading card game. It's going to add lore, it's going to add depth and story to a physical trading card game by introducing it in a digital IP.
That's called a living card game, Ferret Lord. It's called a living card game.
If you're an indie brand,
they do exist.
to fall back on.
Although they don't exist as much anymore. Oh, and also living card game is a registered trademark of Fantasy Flight, I think. But there's other names for it that is just like are non-trademark infringing or whatever the fuck. It's just Netrunner we've talked about Netrunner a lot on this channel. Netrunner isn't a company anymore; it's a nonprofit, but it still works on the living card game model.
Like I said, it can be an advantage at times, but most of the time, you're at a pretty big disadvantage just trying to keep your head above water. So if so many Kickstarter TCGs die and simply can't make it, what do the survivors have in common? Having lived this for the last 4 years, I think I have some unique insight here. Community over everything. The games that last are the ones where the community feels like they belong to something. They're not just consumers buying a product, they're actual members of a world. Illustrals has been community first from day one, and that's not an accident. Our Discord doesn't just discuss the game, it is the game's heartbeat. Players teach each other, they welcome newcomers, they test new sets before they release, they feel ownership. I think anyone who is really in the Illustrals world knows that they can reach out to me, and there's a really good chance that I'm going to answer them, or at the very least point them in the direction that they need to go to have their concerns addressed or answered. We put a tremendous amount of effort into the community building because that's really what we're here for. We're here to build a game that brings people together.
And you know what? This one's actually real. The reason why I continue to get product from Illustrals is because I reached out to A Drive one time. I was like, hey, can I get some product? Literally, that's it. I was like, Golden Nova told me to reach out, and he sent stuff. Like, he's legitimately very accessible.
That's not just some slogan. It's not just some thing we say to get people interested in our game. It is who we are to our core. Store relationships are sacred. Every store that carries your game is a partner, not a customer. They're putting their reputation on the line by recommending your product. You have to make that bet pay off for them by giving them organized play, marketing materials, demo support, and consistent communication. Now, I'll be real, this is an area that we've dropped the ball in the past.
Love that they have the footage of them dropping the car.
Support that we want to deliver to stores. That's no longer the case. We've doubled down. We've hired industry experts and veterans. We've doubled our team size for our sales team and our store communication support. And that's an area that I actually want Illustrals to shine above the rest. We are putting so much emphasis on this. I'd like to describe it as white glove support. I want any store who wants to get in touch with Illustrals to be able to reach out to my team and get whatever they need right away, without a delay. No questions, no jumping through hoops, no going through multiple levels of chain of command. They can get to the
Why are you calling that white glove support? Why are we calling that white glove support?
the source of what they need right away without a problem. And that's
it is weird that we haven't discussed making the game fun as one of the things.
Showing up, releasing sets on schedule.
Like, Illustrals is a fun game, but like that's what has made it as successful as it is that Illustrals at its core is pretty dang fun. MetaZoo, however,
which we've struggled with, admittedly. Running events on schedule, being present in the community every day. The moment you go quiet, people assume you're dying. Consistency is the antidote to "is this game dead?" question that haunts every indie TCG. As the creator of Illustrals, I go to war every single day. And you might think I'm exaggerating, but I will tell you I have a lot of grades
he's in his war room
because of the effort that I put in over the last couple years to try to build this. Every single day you show up and you try to move the needle just a little bit further. Some days you get kicked back like
my
10
doggy
feet.
is barking.
Other days you
Why
make
is my
a little
doggy
bit of
bark?
incremental improvement that keeps you motivated to show up the next day. But I'll tell you what, it's not easy. We touched on this before, but you have to build a world, not just a game. Pokemon isn't just a card game. Magic isn't just a card game. They're universes.
No mention for Yu-Gi-Oh. No mention for Yu-Gi-Oh. Oh, you're not going to talk about how Yu-Gi-Oh is just a card game?
If your TCG
at this point
is only a card game, it's going to have a ceiling. Illustrals is a trading card game. We're working on a digital card game, and now we're working on our working on quote unquote. The world is bigger than any single product.
Not legally allowed to work on.
To longevity, especially as an indie IP. If you're thinking about launching a TCG on Kickstarter, especially after seeing what Cyberpunk has done, I'm sure many of you are. Here's some honest, real advice from someone who's been living this. Your Kickstarter is chapter 1. It is not the whole book. Plan for what happens after the campaign before you launch it. How will you get into stores? How will you run organized play? How will you fulfill globally? If you don't have the answers to these questions, you're probably not ready. You need to budget for reality, not optimism. Manufacturing costs more
When's
than you
the Ian
think.
card game?
Shipping
Never.
costs more than you think.
I don't want to deal with this shit.
Tariffs cost
Do you
more
see
than
how
think.
hard this fucking shit
Everything
is?
takes longer than you think. Build margins that can absorb the unexpected because the unexpected is guaranteed. One of the
No, I'm going to make the smart play and get in on the ground floor of someone else's card game and then be like, hey, that's I've seen it looks successful, and it'd be like, hey, you should put a card that I'd make in there.
Life lessons I've absorbed in creating Alestrals is that it's not a matter of if I'm going to get knocked down or if I'm going to run into a problem or challenge or issue. It is a matter of when. When is the next problem or challenge?
The secret is to bet on a horse that's already winning.
I'm going to get kicked in the face. It's probably right around the corner. And how I handle that, how I get back up, and how I push through these problems is what defines what Alestrals looks like. Not just in next year or in 5 years, but what we do for the next 2, 3, 4 decades that I hope to create this game. Build your community before you launch. Don't use Kickstarter as your community builder. Use it as your community's celebration.
I don't want to think that far ahead.
You should already love it before the campaign goes live. If your Discord isn't active before launch day, you're starting from behind. I also want to emphasize this point because it's really big right now in our company that I've been focusing and drilling in on my team, is that just because you said something once on the internet does not mean you can't say it again. Say it again. Say it the next day. Say it the day after that. Just assume that anything you put out in terms of content on the internet was...
That attitude is what got him in trouble. Everyone's told him to shut the fuck up.
Seen by nobody, and that you can do the same thing again and say the same message again, because there's so many people out there on the internet who are finding this content and finding the things that you're talking about. It is very unlikely that the same person is going to run to the same type of content more than once. You can't just put something out there and assume everyone sees it. If we have a tournament in 2 weeks, we can't just make one Twitter post and say, hey, there's a tournament, and expect our audience to know that it exists. We need to drill it down. If we really want them to show up at this tournament, we need to be sending emails. We need to be sending social posts. We need to be posting in our Discord. And we need to remind people multiple times leading up to
Dude,
the
is he
event
talking this off the dome, or has he got a script? I can't quite tell, actually. He's a lot better at Farfa. If he doesn't have a script, he's a lot better than Farfa at just riffing off a script, off of some like notes that he took.
But being great isn't enough. You need the systems, the logistics, the store relationships, the organized play, and the stamina to do it for years, not months. I've always said that Alestrals is not going to fail because I'm not going to quit. But I'll tell you, it's really hard. It is really, really hard. And there's been moments where we've been on the cusp of challenges and disruption and whether or not we were going to make it to the next set or whatever it may be. But
yeah, no, to be clear, self-promotion is fine, generally speaking. The reason why people were mad at Dan is because he was doing it in the most annoying way possible.
Again, we got back up every single time.
Every time someone would say something bad about Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon, he would like get into their replies being like, hey, have you tried Alestral?
It is not clear, smooth waters. It is a bloodbath that I will have to push through every single day. But that's what makes the grind worth it. That's what makes the challenge worth it. And delivering for the players and the promises that I've made is the utmost importance. We're genuinely trying to create something amazing here. Now, good luck
self-promoting in my chat.
Right
you can't post links.
Our first ever world championship. We're in about 400 stores. We're about to release our 7-set Sunstring. Our RPG, Alestrals Awakened, was the most funded video game on Kickstarter last year. We've got over 30,000 wish lists. And I'm still scared every single day. Not because I think we're going to fail, but because I know how many things have to go right and how I have to show up every single day to make sure they go right. Every set has to be balanced. Every event has to run smoothly. Every store has to feel supported, and every new player has to feel welcomed. The moment that I stop being scared and the moment that I stop focusing on what matters most, our players, is the moment that Alestrals ends up in the bin, like those other card games we talked about. Fortunately for my Alestrals players out there, there's no quit in this guy, so don't you worry. The TCG space is harder than it's ever been. There's more competition, more skepticism from stores, more logistic complexity, more consumer caution after watching other games die. But it's also more exciting than it's ever been. More players are discovering indie TCGs. More stores are open to new games.
You know, I really do think that the MetaZoo people really just shouldn't have quit. If the MetaZoo guys had just not quit, they wouldn't have failed.
And more creators are building worlds that deserve to exist. I'm also a big believer of a rising tide lifts all ships. Players like Cyberpunk coming into the space in Riftbound is only a win. They're going to introduce TCGs to more people, and maybe, just maybe, some of those people will stumble on my game, Alestrals. If you want to get involved in what we're building, you should join our Discord.
I kind of disagree on that, honestly. I feel like more players in the space makes it rougher.
Our community is the brightest spot.
Because people can only invest in so many card games. If you were a living card game, I think that actually would be true. But because you're not a living card game, you're a card game where you have to like actively invest all the time, and there's constant like basically gambling going on. You are going to only be able to like the average person is only going to be able to invest in 1, maybe 2 card games. A new card game coming into the space means that your likelihood of being one of those 2 card games is going down. So it is bad for you, actively bad for you, unless you are a model that is less exploitative and thus more affordable for average players.
The brightest star in the Illustrials universe, and I'm so proud of what we've built so far. And if you're someone out there who's building your own trading card game, drop a comment down below. Let me hear your story. Maybe, just maybe, I can help a little bit. I genuinely think this space needs more voices, more perspectives, and more people willing to speak out and share their experiences. On a personal side note, I was really pleased to be able to chat with the CEO of WeirdCo and Cyberpunk TCG over the last couple months. We've become quite friendly, and I actually really like what they're building, and I was happy to share my insights and my knowledge, and they've been able to give me plenty of wisdom and ideas too. So these relationships exist behind the scenes. You might not realize it, but we all realize that we're all just going to battle every single day and trying to make our games awesome.
And then you can tell it's a YouTube video because it has a very sudden ending. Yeah, I don't know. There was some good stuff in that video, but there was some like whack ass shit in that video. I was trying to see if there's anything interesting in the comments, but no. It's all just people going, I like this video. Which, you know, great comments. You should comment on all of my videos. I like this video. And you should tell me what you like about it. Every single one of my videos. In fact, why don't you go down to Batchu's library at Zempire Clips on YouTube and go and comment on every single one of those videos. Hey, I like this video. I like this part specifically. Why don't you do that for me right now? Every single one. And make sure you hit the subscribe button, of course. All right, I think that's going to be it for me today. I feel like this was not as explosive a one as the Sam one. In some ways it was. The beginning was fucking insane to me. But, you know, despite, you know, A-Drive's, you know, inexperience and missteps, he's been running Illustrials for a while now, so he obviously has some amount of insights. Do I have to say which part? It might be funny or not to. Well, so the problem is if you say the same comment over and over again in a bunch of different videos, YouTube might spam, like flag it for spam. So that's the one problem. As long as you can make them all different comments, I don't care. Just don't get flagged for being spam. Video felt a little like bragging though. Honestly, to me, maybe because I'm just so inundated with the problems of Illustrials, it felt more like I would see it more as excusing the issues that Illustrials has had, by being like, but it's so hard. Yeah, we had all these problems, but it's so hard. I don't know. But I don't think it was like necessarily like that. Dan seems like a reasonable person as far as that goes. I just think he's a little oblivious, I guess. Unspoken major factor is also luck. Yeah, but the problem with luck as a factor is that you probably should say it, but it's extremely unhelpful as like a thing to mention. Like if you talk about the fact that yeah, there's going to be a lot of luck involved, it doesn't really help. It's just like yeah, That's true. All right. You know, like there's no advice there. It's just saying, just be prepared for there to be a lot of bad luck. And you know, to be fair, A-Drive did kind of address the unluckiness that he has run into, but he obviously didn't address the luck he's run into as well. But I think one thing I guess the one advice I would give, and this is like for everything, honestly, this is advice for basically any creative endeavor you're trying to make money on. My advice is there's always there's always luck involved. You can get lucky, your video will be viral, or your like video game will get funded, your card game will be funded. You can get unlucky. But the people who succeed are the ones who are prepared for bad luck and prepared for good luck. People forget to be prepared for good luck because you have to be prepared to strike while the iron is hot. You have to be prepared to actually do something when you get lucky. And a lot of people forget to do that. Are we discussing the state of Illustrals again? Kinda. We were discussing this video A-Drive did. How you doing, Out of Characters? You missed a real good one where we talked about this fucking video. Oh, for sure. Absolutely, Tristan Shuffles. I 100% agree. It would have been good to address that. But, you know, that's the thing, though, is like A-Drive was lucky to get that. And he also was able to capitalize on that. Team Sam video essay is a curse phrase. It really is. It really fucking is. It is complete vibes-based video essay. But like I said, like the only thing, I think really the only advice you can give when it comes to the factors of luck is it's there, be prepared for it. So that's why I can see why it gets dropped from a video, because it's not particularly interesting to talk about. Although you probably should, just if you're doing due diligence, talk about it. Video paragraph. That's called a YouTube short, I think. God. See, Out of Character shows up, and now I'm like, I want to do more show. Out of Characters is here, my friend. But I don't have anything else for you. Farfa hasn't made a video essay like that we can react to. Okay, well, there actually is one thing. What was the name of it, though? So sorry, I could go, no! There's other Team Sam video. We don't need to watch another Team Sam video. What was it? Oh, wait, I remember now. TCG brain rot. Something like, it was like TCG is the cure. Yeah, cardboard is the cure for brain rot. I was debating on whether to do this one or not.
Critical thinking is at an all-time low. Face-to-face socialization has been declining for decades, and traditional hobbies are being replaced by passive, brain-numbing activities. Over the last few months, I have consumed a lot of content about the decline of society, and it got me thinking about my own life, what I choose to spend my time on, and who I choose to spend it with. And as someone who has historically chosen my phone over pretty much any activity you can think of, what I found scared me. Obviously, a lot of this content had suggestions.
Fucking okay. So I'm gonna show my cards here. Like I'm gonna go ahead and reveal my cards to you, because I'm just that confident. This video is not awful, but I fucking hate the framing of it. The framing of this video is miserable, and this is the first step in this process. I've been watching a lot of content recently about how my brain is broken. And then she reveals that the content she's watching and reading and whatever is this fucking slop-ass articles. 3 steps to fix your attention span. Oh, yeah. So what you're telling me is you discovered a problem because you've been watching content and reading content that sells you a problem that they can fix. Oh, huh. Interesting.
For reclaiming your brain, getting your time back, and recovering your life from big tech.
I want to take the rest of this video to go through.
Also, I mentioned this with the Sam video. It's just like I love the fancy editing to make a video essay look more professional.
Really specific tips that the research points to as ways that we can manage our boredom.
That's true out of
More
characters.
people, myself included, are going one step further and deleting these apps outright.
I want to get my life back, and I feel like the only way to do this is to break up with the internet.
I've decided to basically quit social media.
No Instagram, no TikTok.
By the way, if you're finding yourself spending a lot of time on social media and you don't want to be, this is... I don't even remember the name of the app. I'm not going to look it up, so I'm not giving you a specific app. But there's apps out there that can limit the amount of time, like actually lock you out of an app for a certain period of time, for only giving you a certain amount of times to use them. I use one for YouTube Studio because YouTube Studio is a fucking hell space. But I need to have the app so I can do things on the go sometimes. But I really need to not look at it all the time. It is just hell. It is actual hell on my phone. So I have one of those apps set up. You should limit your time spent on all websites outside of youtube.com. Wait, why don't I have... Wait a minute. Hold the fucking phone. What the fuck? Why aren't you VIP'd out of characters? Why aren't you VIP'd? Have you seen the inspirations tab? Oh boy, have I. Out of characters. Out of characters, plural. There we go. There we go. Not even the real right URL.
No Twitter.
All right, there we go.
Nothing.
You're VIP'd now.
I don't have social media. I'm better than you. I'm frolicking in the woods.
I turned off notifications for every app on my phone, restricted scrolling, scheduled slow time, and made an effort to reply to messages and reach out to friends. And that's when I realized that one of the
If you use the phone for texting, it's fine.
activities I spent the most time on, for hours every day when I had the time to give, I'd been forgetting about. Something that made me think critically, memorize, and learn. Something that forced me to socialize face-to-face with others. And something that, by all definitions,
All right, have a nice
is
day,
hobby.
Alakazam.
I'd forgotten about trading card games.
Well, considering you play Flesh and Blood, I don't blame you for forgetting about it. Yummy Cupsy will fix your mental health.
Playing trading card games, in my case playing Flesh and Blood, will solve all of your problems. It certainly won't solve all of society's problems. But what it can do
But what if it did?
is improve your life in 3 pillars: thinking, socialization, and hobbies. If you feel like
This part of the video drives me insane. This is the worst part of the video right here.
people are getting dumber, you're not alone. Every generation thinks that the kids these days are addicted to their phones or the TV or the radio or books or their stone tablets.
Every generation since fucking Socrates has thought that the new generation is dumber than they are.
But this time, things are different.
But this time it's true! Shut up! time. It's true. No, I'm the one generation where it's true. I'm the one generation where it actually is the next generation that's bad.
In the 1980s, New Zealand researcher James R. Flynn identified a consistent rise in IQ scores across the world throughout the 20th century.
Oh, cool. IQ scores. Let me go. Don't question why the lich is on the screen if you haven't been here. Let me go to Wikipedia. IQ. Okay. IQ. Let's see here. Precursors. Other theory, modern test. Oh, reliability and validity. Test bias or differential item functioning. Genetics and environment? Oh. I'm noticing there's a lot going on here in this Wikipedia article. Don't we just love eugenics? Chat, don't screenshot this. Chat, can someone screenshot that? Can someone clip me?
The Flynn effect, and was initially interpreted as evidence of humanity getting smarter. But by the 1990s, the trend reversed, and it continued to get worse.
Folks, if you don't already know, what IQ tests is your ability to take tests. That's it. If you're good at taking tests, you'll have a high IQ.
An analysis of over 394,000 scores on intelligence tests taken between 2006 and 2018 showed that IQs had fallen in logic and vocabulary, computation and mathematics, and visual problem solving and analogies. At the same time,
also, not to ignore that, other characters, I do agree about that.
26% of Americans could reliably distinguish fact from opinion in written text.
I don't think it's generational, though.
Now's the perfect time to hit that subscribe button. That's fact, right? And if you're thinking that the culprit behind our inability to think critically, and in many cases to think at all, might just be the glowing evil manipulation machine in your pocket, then you'd probably be right. The trend of people across the board finding it more difficult
Blue sky ass way to describe my phone.
Ability to reason and becoming unable to problem solve started around the mid-2010s, taking a noticeable leap during the pandemic. Our dependence on digital devices makes it harder to function at all without them.
So, like, is it that? Is it the mobile device? Or could there perhaps be some other factors? Could there perhaps be something else that might be the cause? Can I get a graph? Can I get a graph of school funding? Sure, Urban Institute. Why not? Let me take a look at Missouri. Oh, interesting. Looks like the numbers went down. Looks like, what the fuck does progressivity? Can I just get funding? Okay, actually, a lot of them are going up for some reason, but are these actually adjusted for inflation? That's the question. I would bet a lot of them aren't. Well, you know what, though? There is one big dip right here in the 2010s, though. She talks about it happening right in the 2010s, and we get a dip right there where it stops growing, as you might expect with the rising inflation. And then it starts to pick up again, but the damage has been done, perhaps? I don't know. It's just like a lot of video essayists look at one thing and assume that's all they need to look at. This is my big problem. This is my big problem. They look at one thing and assume that's all they need to look at. And they don't like stop and think about other factors. Right? I think this is a chronic problem that a lot of people have, where they find the thing they're looking for and they're like, oh, goody. Does this person have sources they're citing? That would actually be a good question. That's actually a really good question. No. No. Was there...
Pandemic started around the mid-2010s to reason and
Nope.
becoming unable to
No
problem
source.
solve started around the mid-2010s, taking a noticeable
Folks, cite your sources.
leap during the pandemic. Our dependence on digital devices makes it harder to function at all without them. Quick dopamine hits from social media and 30-second videos have replaced deep reading and problem solving.
It's like they're making this connection. I don't know how they're making this connection because, one, don't cite a source, but two, there's just so many other factors at play.
I'm not going to go on about how we're actually getting dumber this time for any longer. And I've linked all the articles and research I'm going to talk about down in the description.
She's got the video
So I'll
essay
leave this
cadence down,
section
though.
with the fact that Oxford University Press's word of the year in 2024 was brain rot. I think that speaks for itself.
Like... Wait, did she actually say she's linked the articles? Oh, here we go. Here we go. It's a Patreon link. Smart. Very smart. I should start doing that. One News. Do you have a link to it? A Medium article. Radio New Zealand. PC Magazine. Computers and Human Behavior, an actual journal. Thank God, a journal. What is this? What is this citation style? This is definitely not Chicago. I'm a Chicago believer, but that's because I'm a historian. Commentary. New Left Review. Goonhammer. Do they write citations differently in New Zealand? I don't know. I fucking hate this style, though. Reddit. New Zealand Herald. The Guardian. A second journal. We have 2 journals thus far. Department of Health and Human Services. I don't trust anything they put out. Reddit. Psychology Today, PopSci. Nagaland University. Okay, there's a university pub. I'll count that as a journal. There's 3. Vice article. Biophysics, Science, and Medicine. Okay. 4. There's 4 journals so far. It's not awful. NBC Palm Springs. New Yorker. Canvas 8. Procedia Social Insight. Okay, there's a journal. There's 5. Saga Concepts. Zula. Global Market Insights. It is better than average for a YouTube video essay. Yes, there are actual journals cited. I will say also, journals are kind of hard to get your hands on if you're not like familiar with the ways that people get them. Like paying for a fucking subscription to JSTOR or whatever. First of all, JSTOR is fucking evil, so I would never want to pay for a subscription. But also, it's money, right? So I understand why some people are averse to it, but there's always books too. And then cited videos. I don't care about cited videos. It's tough if you're not in academia. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So this probably looks really good if you're not in academia. I hate to be all I hate to be my coastal elitist mode here. This does not help me figure out what you're citing. You have in-text citations, please. In-text citations. If you are citing a statistic, you need to provide me where you get that statistic from, so I don't have to go and read every single one of these sources to figure out where you got that statistic from, right? Also, just use Chicago style. It's a really good citation style. I don't know. Sometimes for like, I will honestly sometimes do lazier citations for things, but when it comes to quotes, I try to make sure I'm doing like the number, the thing I'm taking it from, right? When it comes to statistics, I would also do the same thing. It would give you the page number and it would give you the book it came from or journal, right? I think that's really important for citing your sources. But this is still, as you pointed out of characters, 10 times better than the average YouTube video essay. Source for all your videos are YCS feature matches. Yeah, like for you could just put down the YCS feature match, right? I don't think you need to. For what I do with video footage is I also put up the specific video, like in that section, I put up the specific video I got the footage from. I've got like a whole thing specifically set up for it. I've made it look like anime subtitles. I like the classic anime subtitle look. I like the way it looks. I think that's a good habit to get to have. And then you can use the same thing for if you're citing a statistic or a quote or something like that. It works really well for that. I don't know. It really depends on what kind of thing you're talking about and what kind of thing you're citing, right? I think those really change how you need to cite things. I think when it comes to statistics, it's really important to talk about where you're getting your statistics from. But let's take a quick ad break and we'll get back to this. Because I do think there's some good stuff in this video. We just haven't gotten to it yet. So we'll be right back for the good parts. All right, folks, we're back. Let's finish up this video.
Our phones are sucking our attention, manipulating us into wasting our lives scrolling through garbage that we can't even remember, and destroying not just our brains, but the younger generation's brains as well. Awesome! But the main takeaway is, actually using your brain as often as possible is more important now than it ever has been. A study conducted by the Cognitive Development Lab at the University of Wisconsin-Madison found that trading card games can enhance executive functions, including working memory and cognitive flexibility. Further research confirms that engaging in strategic
And I believe that because the same thing has been found with video games as well. Like most games in generally engage your brain in ways that create these kind of neural pathways.
games, such as trading card games, can improve cognitive abilities like problem solving, critical thinking, and memory retention. This anecdotal evidence from a Reddit thread asking
And then she does this. She puts out a really good, like a fucking fine study that suggests things that have been confirmed by other research, and then she goes, this anecdotal evidence
users how trading card games improve their lives, found that people truly saw an improvement in
the best thing about anecdotal evidence is that it's evidence. It's right there in the name.
their critical thinking, the way they not only learned things but also explained and taught things to others, their logical thinking, and their planning.
So I just like there's stuff that I like in this video, and then there's stuff like this.
Memory. And it's not just for us veteran players either. One study done on the effects of the Pokemon TCG on kids explained that the way it demands a mastery of complex knowledge and active interaction is totally
It's Pokemon.
unique when compared to other children's toys. The study went on to state that schools have even run programs that encourage collectible card game or trading card game play to foster analytical development skills. If you play trading card games, then you've probably experienced
And like also like what other like, one study, but also what other kind of toys were they playing with? What were they doing with those toys? Like were those toys like fostering different kind of neural pathways instead of like just cognitive ones, right? Were they creating the ability, like the neural pathways for socialization, like Barbie dolls? You know, the play of house can create emotional like kind of stuff like that. Like you have to like. It's the video essay problem. Like what I'm saying, the video essay problem is that you only look at it from one fucking angle, and you never consider any other angle or any other like factors. You have to look big picture.
Definitely subconsciously. When you construct deck after deck, you start to calculate value faster, remember what cards do faster, and remember deck building conventions incredibly quickly. Whether you're playing a difficult matchup and have to analyze all the tiny things that are happening on the board, what your opponent is doing, what their win con is, what their strategy is, and reconcile it with your own gameplay, or when you're trying to figure out what decks are best situated to win the next tournament and how you should respond. The complexity of gameplay, deck building, and the ever-changing metagame requires players to constantly think critically, analyze probabilities, and adapt to their strategies. When I'm talking with my
And like I think one issue with that is that it would be so much research for this kind of video, but that's why I wouldn't make this kind of video.
friends or other players about professional Flesh and Blood players, the conversation always seems
Or at least
to
not
land
that
on
part
how
of the video.
smart they are. And I imagine it's the same.
Wait, hold up.
When I'm talking with my friends or other players about professional Flesh and Blood players, the conversation always seems to land on how smart they are.
If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all.
And I imagine it's the same for fans of Magic or Pokemon or any other trading card game. But even
Snubbing Yu-Gi-Oh! Fuck you. When I talk about professional Yu-Gi-Oh! Players, when I talk about the high level competitive player Yu-Gi-Oh! I do not talk about how smart they are.
if you're not a professional, the thinking that TCGs push you to do is
I usually
much
talk
more than
about
you
how
would do
good they
on
are
an
at the
average
game.
day, scrolling, playing mobile games, or just hanging around.
But
the way we
me personally, I know that there's a difference between the various types of intelligences. So,
think
you know.
isn't the only thing our digital addiction is slowly destroying. Today, we're meant to be more connected than ever.
Okay, now here's the part where I actually do agree with this video. So let's get into it.
Technology and social
To an
media
extent, I think it
were sold to
overstates
us
its
as
point a
ways
little
to make
much,
the world more
but
open and connected.
it does a little bit of that.
Is to bring people
Oh, get
together,
off your
not push
goddamn
people apart,
phones
to connect
thing,
more,
but
not less. We are one global community.
To allow ourselves to socialize, meet people, and
because
interact with
it's
others
because of
in
the video
ways
essay problem where everything has to be a world-shattering issue and not
we
just like
had
a problem,
never
right?
previously had the ability to do.
It has to be the most
But
amount of
instead
problem
that
it can
dream,
possibly
social
be
media
instead
has
of just a
polarized us,
problem.
made it impossible to find common ground, flooded our feed with information that solidifies our own opinions and makes everyone else our enemy. Time spent socializing in person has decreased by nearly 70% over 2 decades.
Which one of your sources did you get this data from? You cannot expect me to go through every single one of your sources to find this data.
For young people, and approximately half of US adults report feeling loneliness. In 2023, the US Surgeon General issued an advisory calling attention to the importance of social connection for individual and community health, well-being, and the significant consequences that arise when social connection is lacking. The data showed that lacking social connection can increase the risk for premature death as much as smoking up to 15 cigarettes a day. One of the reasons that face-to-face social connection has decreased is the lack of third spaces. The term originates from sociologist Ray
Good thing nothing
Oldenburg,
famously happened that
Great
would affect
Good Place,
socialization
published
in person
1989.
since 2020.
If your first space is your home, your second space is your work, then Oldenburg writes that you need a third space.
Okay, here's where we get to the part where I actually really like this, some parts of this video. 500 cigarettes. Sorry, I got distracted by that. But no, I think what is really good about trading card games is that they involve a third space. The trading card shop is a third space that can oftentimes otherwise not exist. I like that. I think that's really good.
That everyone can hang out.
Playing card games in person is fucking fun.
These have historically been
Or it can
informal,
be. It can
distinctive
also be
public
miserable.
gathering spaces where everyone can get to know everyone else, talk about what they do for work, share their cultural backgrounds, and chat about what they like to do for fun. But in our modern digitized world, we don't get this luxury.
What?
Like to do for fun.
Can I see that Times Square billboard again?
We don't get this luxury.
Does anyone else see that? Right up here? Why is Tim Pool advertising on Broad in Times Square? Wait, there's more down here too. Why is Tim Pool advertising in Times Square? What?
Things that used to be cheap and easy to access are now expensive. Going to a roller skating rink or to a restaurant to grab a drink and chill will cost you $50 if you're lucky.
Is that New Zealand dollars? Because like that's not how much it costs in America even.
The cost of access to third places for many is prohibitive.
I would have vetted the stock footage. Okay, to be fair on that one, I don't know if I would have caught that. I might have put it in there just because I thought it was funny, in fact.
Stereotype, and I'm sure the experience for many was that teens head to the mall to
I would have caught it in the editing process and then put a fucking editor's note that's like, why the fuck is Tim Pool advertising in Times Square?
chill, grab a soda, but mostly just hang out. In 2025, US mall closures saw a 67% increase.
Okay, I've got a little bit of a beef with this one. This is not anything to do with her. This is a lot of people talk about this. They're closing the malls. That's why nobody socializes anymore. Like, okay. You do know that the malls are what closed everything, right? The malls like took away a lot of the third spaces we used to have. Malls are essentially the Walmart of third spaces. Like, I don't care if malls close down as long as something comes in to replace them. But the problem is that they're being left abandoned and just becoming, well, they're becoming third spaces in a way, but third spaces for only a certain kind of person.
According to NBC, US movie ticket sales are down 46% compared to 21 years ago. When I look at the price of seeing a movie in my local theater, I understand
And
why.
no judgment in that
Stella
either.
John
Just,
writes that this is just one
it's just
of the
not
three
for
reasons
everyone.
behind the decrease in third spaces.
What percentage?
Alongside rising costs, John says that the online world has become a replacement for the physical one, and that physical spaces such as malls are being shuttered. The accessible...
But something about this also... We say that a lot, right? I don't know how true it is. I don't know how true it is. Like, for me personally, I'm on my phone a lot, an unfortunate amount. But that's because I don't have anyone near me, and I don't have a car, and I don't have good access to infrastructure. If infrastructure were improved to where I could just go to a locals or something like that, I would go to locals, right? Although maybe not to my locals. My locals was fucking miserable. I would go to like a theater or something. I would go places. I want to go places. But our car-based society makes it impossible for me to do so. And my effect that it's literally like a mile's walk to the nearest town for me. Which is honestly, or not a mile. Sorry, I didn't mean a mile. I mean an hour. An hour's walk. Sorry, it would be more than a mile. It's literally an hour's walk to a nearest town for me, which is shorter than a lot of other people have it, right? A lot of people live in suburbs suburbs or otherwise rural suburbs, which are like a subset of suburbs. It's like somewhere in between the two, or in rural communities where it's much further to walk away. Do you think that perhaps that's why people have stopped, have transitioned so much from in-person to online? Or perhaps, this recent pandemic that has not actually fully gone away. And so immunocompromised people still have to take significant precautions to go out in public. Do we think perhaps there are other reasons other than just the phone is so addictive? Oh my God, it's so addictive. It is addictive, but would people actually like to be outside or with other people more often if they were able to be? Food for thought. Again, this is the problem with the video essay, is that you can't think of other things. You have to, it's all in on this one premise. You can't think of other things. You can't consider the whole picture. It drives me crazy.
Spaces that we have left are the ones that must be protected at all costs. Trading card game events, such as armories, game nights, standard battles, leagues, or nexus nights, bring people with common interests together, regardless of their backgrounds or experiences. Flesh and Blood creator James White.
I legitimately think that phones are destroying phones are replacing third spaces more so because third spaces are ceasing to exist, or ceasing to be accessible, than it is that phones are the whole reason. It's the third space is like ceasing to exist. It's ass backwards, right? I think it's totally backwards, because phones are not that fun as compared to hanging out with friends. If I have an opportunity to hang out on phone or hang out with friends, I'm hanging out with friends. Fuck phone. Phone can get fucked. So I just don't understand how anyone could come to this conclusion in some ways. It's correlation equals causation. It's pure correlation equals causation. I don't know, maybe I'm just built different, but I always would pick friends over phone if it was an option. It's the lack of option is the problem.
So our mission statement is to bring people together in the flesh and blood through the common language of playing great games. It's all about the people. It's about the
I did
people
not
coming
know that
together.
Flesh and Blood was a Kiwi game, by the way.
We always talk to this point. Everything that we do, all the decisions orbit around that mission statement, and our fan base understand what we stand for, and that is really critical.
Studies found that one of the most fun and motivating aspects of trading card games is community. The social interaction that comes from getting together to jam games has been described as fulfilling the need for belongingness and fostering the formation of friendships and communities. In fact, one study found that
Did you need it? This is the one. This is the one I would accept not having a study for, but apparently we have one.
over 80% of players consider
Also, yeah, I do love the study according to Market News.
these games central to their social identity, with communities providing a strong sense of belonging. For kids playing the Pokemon TCG, a study found that being able to continue to participate in the literate culture that is trading card games required the ongoing learning of literate practices associated with not only problem solving, analyzing, and strategizing, but arguably more importantly, discussing, challenging each other, and constantly exchanging ideas with one another. Even further, the social interaction involved in playing trading card games has been proven to promote communication skills, teamwork, and
Could it possibly be the companies behind these games might benefit from these narratives? Let's ask the CEO. I think that's especially good to note when we're talking about Flesh and Blood, which is a trading card game that is specifically marketed on the fact that it will never have a digital client. They're very specific about, that's why it's called Flesh and Blood, because you play it in flesh and blood.
sportsmanship.
Or at least part of
If
why, it's a
trading card
pun.
games provide the common ground to connect on, and the platform for players to interact, compete, and trade, then local game stores form the heart of these communities.
What we call local game stores, they function as like community hubs where people, the common interest is playing the game, that is the common language, but they serve as these community centers where people can come together and make new friendships outside of work. I often talk about the third place, like people need a third place. If you have home, you have work, and then typically people have a third place.
But like, why is the third place always a place of business, right? Couldn't the third place be a non-place of business?
For some it's the gym, for some it's church, for some it might be the pub or the sports club or whatever. For gamers, or tangible.
Me when I'm a journalist, smiling and nodding while the CEO says whatever he wants.
Tabletop gamers is the local game store.
One Games and Hobbies blogger, John Kill, wrote in a blog post, "For many hobbies and communities, the local store isn't a transactional place, it's a social hangout. The community's beating heart, where people meet up, play games, swap stories, and make friends." User Rob says, "I spent all summer hanging out at that store, playing Magic and talking to the locals. I was fluent in Italian by the end of my first summer."
And I don't. Yeah, that's another thing, Fairlord. I don't necessarily mean somewhere outside, like a park. It could also be like a fucking union hall, right? Union halls are cool little places. I wish more of them were like available for like just public, or just around in general.
I spent several hours a day talking to Italians and picking up the language playing cards. Playing at the local shop was a massive part of how I made friends in Italy and learned the language. And the store gave us the tables, space, and terrain to do all of that. User Elor added, "Without a centrally located
Community
establishment for
centers.
people
Yeah,
to
I'm
meet
not
and
necessarily
mingle,
talking about like
you'll definitely
go
miss out
outside
on
and
what
play in the
might very
grass.
well
Like,
turn out
yeah.
to be lifelong friends." I know that I wouldn't be where I am today without my local game stores in Auckland. When I started playing Flesh and Blood, the local community was so incredibly helpful, telling me about all the different heroes, lending or even giving me cards when the prices stopped me from upgrading my deck, and being so patient and helpful when I was just learning. When I was in China, I spent many nights in a game store where people would teach me how to antagonize my opponents in Chinese, show me how to
Incredible.
play the game, and give me heaps of delivery food recommendations.
See, that's the cool part about trading cards. Why isn't the video focused on that? The ways that they foster community. I think that's fucking fascinating. You can make a whole video about
One
it.
night I stayed so late that I missed the last metro, and the game store owner actually dropped me off at the university campus. Shout out to Kai because he's a legend. This was one of the only ways I got to make actual connections with locals that I saw on a regular basis, rather than just meeting people once or twice who were already in my social circle. In the end, we even got hot pot together and played Magic in a random hotel room that we had to sneak into because more than one person at a time wasn't allowed in the rooms. I have made so many amazing amazing, genuine friendships with people from so many different cities, with different backgrounds, different jobs, and tons of different life experiences than I would have ever met had I not found connections at my local game store. And I know
this part's
this is
really
the
good.
experience of almost
See what I mean?
everybody who plays in-person games and goes to these stores. They are an incredibly valuable community resource and a third space that we should put effort into retaining. In case I haven't made it clear enough, go to your local game store, and if you can, encourage others to
Unless
as
it
well,
sucks.
because the number of people that actively
Go to your local
engage
game
in
store unless it
hobbies
sucks.
is shrinking. This is one of the biggest victims of the screen epidemic. I am sure you have noticed that people are just
If you don't have hobbies, I'm so sorry. That's a skill issue.
more boring now. And I'm
It is
not
so easy to
criticizing
get
because
hobbies.
I've been there too. In fact, while I was writing the script for
Either that or you're just so busy with work that you have no time for it. In which case, that's a capitalism issue.
this exact video, I found myself more than once looking at Instagram Reels on my phone and couldn't even remember opening it up. Screens are addictive, cheap, require zero skill to use, and are always right there in your pocket. For me, the effort of lugging around yarn,
Paqueto.
knitting needles, accessories, and everything I need, or trudging around with a giant book, or even moving to the other
Trudging around with a giant book. Girl, do you not have a purse? Or any bag at all? Like a messenger bag? Girl, get yourself a purse.
room setting up my keyboard, mouse, computer, and opening up Minecraft are too much effort for the reward of the actual hobby. It's much easier to just keep watching TikToks on my phone. One study shows that people check their phones an average of 144 times a day, according to one.
How? Look, I feel like I'm on my phone a lot. I'm not checking it that often. What the fuck? How? How are you checking it 144 times a day? But there's no citation on the thing, so who
Some
knows?
Kiwis even check their phone up to 50 times.
I don't know which of these.
We are addicted.
I don't know which of these fucking things it's coming from, so I can't check and find out
And
where
with
the
all the time
information's
we
coming
spend on our
from.
phones, how can we make time for hobbies? When you can have unlimited dopamine, the secrets of the universe, and more entertainment that you know what to do with, why would you stop? But it's not just our phones that are causing the decline of traditional hobbies. The rising cost of living is forcing people to reassess their relationship with money and look for ways to maximize their earning potential. You may know this better as hustle culture. If you aren't
Did you hear that?
maximize their earning potential, you may know this better as hustle culture.
The music suddenly gets louder when she says hustle culture.
And look for ways to maximize
Listen.
their earning potential. You may know this better as hustle culture.
Why?
If you aren't selling a knitting course, making content about reading, or getting ad revenue off your Minecraft gameplay, then scram because you're wasting your potential. You're losing money, you're unproductive, you're
Girl, I'm so sorry. If you're gonna do this, you have to put in the energy.
lazy, and it's your fault that you're poor.
She's too calm for
Obviously,
this.
isn't what I
She's too
believe.
calm to sell
But it
that
is true
bit.
that
I'm
people are
sorry.
increasingly expected to take the things they love and turn them into a secondary
A good
source of
skill to have. I'm not
This
calm at all.
toxic
It
grind
makes
set
this shit
isn't our fault
unwatchable.
either.
But
The cost of living continues to rise faster than wages, and unemployment is getting worse. It's kind of hard to
I hate monetizing hobbies. Yeah, me too. Anyways, time for a YouTube video. How much did she make for this YouTube video, do you think? 95,000 views? Probably a decent amount.
just live your life at the moment, and hobbies are the first thing to go. If you're looking for a hobby that's actively growing, that has a dedicated place you can go and play in almost every single country worldwide, and that has
And is
many
easily
diverse,
monetized.
friendly, and welcoming communities almost anywhere you go, well, you found it. Trading card game sales overall grew by 35% in 2025.
It is fun. I have never seen someone who exclusively plays Flesh and Blood before like this. Every single card reference shown, reference to TCG here has been Flesh and Blood. I am fascinated by that. I've never seen someone so dedicated to Flesh and Blood. I'm not even like saying it is a bad thing. I've never seen
And
it.
the market is projected to grow from 9.2 billion in 2026 to almost 17 billion by 2035. Playing trading card games at a local game store or
Like,
even in
it's
your friend's
all Flesh
kitchen
and
is
Blood.
something you can do regularly, something that's exciting and fun, something that requires skill
Right, she did say she played Magic in China. But that was with her Flesh and Blood
and
buddies,
something that
right?
brings joy to your life. In fact, one study showed that people who have hobbies are more
Maybe.
likely
I don't
to
know.
have lower
I don't know what
blood
she was playing
pressure,
in the
lower
locals in China,
cortisol, and
actually.
lower levels of
Lower cortisol, you say?
depression. What makes a hobby so exciting is you get to have this default thing that makes you happy. I know that the biggest criticism you're probably thinking about right now is that it's a bit rich to be shilling trading card games in the same breath I talk about the cost of living crisis.
I mean, you said it.
And that's valid, I get it. But Flesh and Blood has Silver Age, where a deck will run you around $20 US.
Card games are too expensive, you say. Well, my argument to that is, have you tried Flesh and Blood?
Or nothing if you're willing to dig through a lot of bulk. Magic has Pauper, Lorcana, Pokemon.
Magic has Pauper. Magic has Pauper. Magic has Pauper. Do they? Do they have Pauper?
And One Piece have unofficial and community-led budget formats. And
Oh, unofficial formats, huh?
And
Great,
although I've
awesome.
only experienced this in Flesh and Blood,
No Yu-Gi-Oh, by the way.
trading card game communities are more than likely to help you out when you're trying to get cards.
There's even Flesh and Blood players that are offering whole decks of cards to newcomers
Whole dicks of
to
cards.
the game
Sorry, that's
to
just
try and get them
mean.
into it, right? They're all becoming mates online, which is awesome.
Many veteran gamers bring spare decks to their regular game nights in order to help new players find out what kind of
By the way, Yu-Gi-Oh players will often do this too. It just kind of depends on your locals.
style they like, and learn the game with a deck that's the same power level as everyone else's. For half the price of your average modern board game, you can play, compete in, and enjoy trading card games. Yes, if you want to play competitively, then you might have to invest in a very expensive constructed deck. But that's not what this video is about. It's about using your brain, getting together with
It's about eating shit at locals.
others face to face, and having a good time. Regardless of where you go, how often you have free time, how much you know, and what you have, I can almost guarantee that you will find a place at your local game store. So whoever you are and
But it probably won't be running Flesh and Blood.
wherever you are, if you have ever had an interest in trading card games, which I assume you would have or you wouldn't have clicked on this video, now is a better time than ever to head on down to your local game store and find your community. I'm not saying that trading card games will solve the world's problems. In fact, far from it. But in the age where we're losing our minds to AI and our phones, we're increasingly less connected and have more polarized worldviews. And when hobbies are being replaced by hustle culture and scrolling, maybe trading card games do have a place in making
Because famously, famously, trading card games are never monetized. There's no hustle culture grind set in them. I don't know. This is why you should read your script after you write it. Because I feel like you if you read that, it should set off alarm bells in your brain.
the world better. Today's tea is spice chai. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.
Spice chai is a fine drink. I like that. It's a good drink. I like a chai. I think spice chai seems a little redundant. Although, chai just means tea, so theoretically, but in the Western context, chai is generally spiced of some kind, but, I get it, you get it. Okay, I'm done here. Don't forget to subscribe to the Batches Library. We're done for real this time. We're gonna head out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Trying to decide which keyboard I should be using. Don't forget !socials in chat gets you my website where you can find everywhere that I'm at. Enjoy all the various places you can find me. Yeah. All right. I'm going to send you somewhere else now. Bye-bye. Let's see. Who are we sending you to? Don't forget, Friday is my birthday, or not Friday, Thursday. Thursday is my birthday stream. I'm going to have Golden Nova, Lily, and Oracle, I suppose, coming over. We're going to be playing a new Yu-Gi-Oh format that I've made. It's not really that new, but it's a play on a format that already exists, but we're going to have a great time with it. I'm really excited about it. And of course, Sunday is 3 Shots to Duel with Out of Characters. And then we have Yu-Gi-Oh! Tuesday next week, of course. And then next Thursday is Stuck in My Craw with Golden Nova. So a lot of good streams to finish out the month. We're going to raid into Bruce Baby, playing one of my favorite games. Or at least was. Oh, yeah, still is. Playing one of my favorite games, Papa's Pizzeria. I love the Papa's games. The Papa's games are so funny. All right. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy. When you get over there, be kind and courteous, I'll ask of you. And with that said, be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and have a wonderful rest of your day. I guess night at this point. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.